Welcome back. This is episode 125 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. My name is Josh. I'm here with Troy. What's going on, Troy?
Just got done with family pictures. It was fantastic. So here I am. It's great having a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old. They really love doing family pictures, so that went well. But we got it all done.
Yeah, that's the classic story of family pictures. Here's how it goes, because I've been through this before. Only one person in the entire family wants to do family pictures, and that's typically the mom, right? Everyone else is miserable the entire time. And then at some point, mom gets really upset because everybody's so miserable about getting family pictures. But you survived.
We survived. It went well. It was quick. It was probably just we did the mini package, so it was like 20 minutes and we're out.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good. Well, Troy, we made it. It's the NHL season. Games have been played. Games are going on right now.
Yep.
We're recording this on Wednesday night, just after the first period of Boston versus Conor Bard.
Yep.
It's not even the Blackhawks anymore. It's just Conor Bard. We were able to see goal number 1 for Bard. Very, very nice play. We'll see what happens. Well, now I'm going to have FOMO for the whole rest of the recording. I'm going to be looking at my phone and not paying attention to our show. That's the effect that he's had on the league. Did you, by chance, see Bedard's first game last night against Sid and the Pittsburgh Penguins?
I did not. I had to coach hockey last night and didn't get home until about 9-ish.
Okay. He was pretty good. I think he was a little more nervous last night. He
forgot his stick. He forgot his stick for warm-ups. That was funny.
I did see today, though, that an average of 1.43 million viewers watched the game against Pittsburgh here in the U.S. on ESPN. That's the most ever for a regular season game.
Hey, I guess the hype, he's going to be a point per game play. I want to figure out, we got to do some calculation for each point he gets. How much does that translate to the hobby box pre-sale price going up?
Yeah. It's just crazy. He's 18 years old. It was kind of cool. The ref last night, he was mic'd up, said welcome, had given him a little welcome to the NHL moment. But I don't know, man. It's just going to be a crazy ride. We're all on it too. We got to talk though a little bit about the first game. Not as exciting for most people, but for us,
we buried the lead on this. We should have had this first story.
So before Bedard made his debut, Nashville took on Tampa Bay, and the very first goal of the season in the NHL in 2023-24, Troy, was scored by none other than Nikita Kucherov, which was followed up by the second goal of the year, scored by Ryan O'Reilly. You literally can't make that up.
When I think you texted me, and then did someone in the Discord point it out?
Oh yeah,
it was just hilarious. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me! Like, it couldn't work out any more perfect.
What's the universe trying to tell us with that? Is that a good omen or?
Hopefully, it's a good omen. Hopefully, it's a good omen.
Can't figure it out. Said the hockey gods are paying attention to the Gong Show.
Yeah,
those are probably two of our most famous show references.
Yeah,
when Troy and was it maybe show 2 or show 3?
Yeah,
named Nikita Kucherov one of your Norris Trophy
candidates
to watch, and then of course we are constantly. Now, what's the word for it? We're constantly gifted with Ryan O'Reilly cards in just about every pack we open.
Yeah,
so that's become a little bit of a running joke too. Well, we got a lot to get to today. Had a great interview with Billy Celio from Upper Deck. But before we get started, just a reminder that the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a Patreon podcast. That means that we rely on support from listeners like yourself to, help keep our show going, help us cover our expenses. Believe it or not, this train wreck is not free. It does cost money to produce. We want to produce more and hopefully better hockey card content and help us fund initiatives, even in a small way, to grow the hockey card hobby. Right now, you can join out of $199 support level tier on Patreon. You forever have that title. You get access to our Discord, which enables you to chat with us and everyone else in our community on a daily basis, participate in stuff like our 5K challenge, fantasy hockey, which we're doing right now. You were saying that you already got smoked in your last night.
Probably when you have Philip Grubauer as your goalie and you turn on the game and then literally the first shot, Vegas shot on goal. And I'm like, here we go. And then he let like 4 or 5. It was sad.
Well, we never win anything, so it's just for us. It's $5 a month starts at $5 a month to join our Patreon. It's very easy to do. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com. Then there's a become a patron link at the top of the page. You can also go to the Patreon website directly, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. There's a link in the show description for whatever podcast app you're listening to us on right now. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, there's a link in the description there too. And then finally, if you're on social media and you come across our Instagram or TikTok profiles, we have links in our link tree that you can find in the profiles there. All right, Troy, ready for the game plan? Ready to get into it?
I am ready. On today's show, we begin with the almost greatest NHL player to wear, number 25. Then we begin our rookie deep dive series for the 23-24 NHL season. Next, it's off to hobby news. We've then had the pleasure to talk to, I say we, but Josh had the pleasure of talking to Billy Celio from Upper Deck and preview the upcoming release of 2022-23 Allure, along with some other topics sprinkled in. We then look at new product releases. Next, we take a look at some of our favorite hockey cards in the current PWCC Weekly Auction. And we end the show with personal pickups. All right, Josh, we are on episode 125. And just a brief primer again, if you're joining us for the first time ever, I guess. We originally ran through the Hockey Writers' greatest NHL player to wear each number article list on our previous episodes. And starting with the last episode, we are now looking at the runners up, and the player we go over has the title of almost greatest NHL player to wear the number that corresponds with our episode number. We are on episode 125, so I will be looking at the almost greatest NHL player to wear number 25. Obviously, I'm using the same article as before, which is the greatest NHL player to wear each number article by the Hockey Writers. But now I will be picking the player from the runners up list. So I guess now I have the power.
Has anyone ever squeezed more juice out of one article?
Oh, I don't think so. But it's fantastic. It's fantastic. All right. The almost greatest NHL player to wear number 25 per the Hockey Writers' greatest NHL player to wear each number article is Dave Anderchuk. As a reminder, the greatest to wear number 25 was Joe Nieuwendyk. However, I bet some people would probably argue Andreychuk might be in that conversation a little bit. So let's look at Dave Anderchuk and see. He is
Can I ask you a serious question first?
Go for it.
Is there any part of you that ever confuses, just because of the name thing, Dave Andreychuk and Dale Hawerchuk?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. It happens. But his name, I can't read his last name or else I'll say it wrong. It looks like it's Andreychuk or something, but it's Anderchuk.
Andreychuk.
Yeah, Jesper Blatt. So he's a left winger from Hamilton, Ontario. Anderchuk was the 16th overall pick in the 1982 NHL entry draft by the Buffalo Sabres. Anderchuk played in 1,639 regular season NHL games over a 23-season NHL career. His 1,639 regular season games played is 10th all-time in NHL history. Andreychuk played for a bunch of teams during his NHL career. He played the most seasons during his career at approximately 11 and a half seasons with the Buffalo Sabres in 2 different stints. He also had stints with Toronto, New Jersey, Tampa Bay, Boston, and Colorado. For his awards and accomplishments, Dave Anderchuk is in the Hockey Hall of Fame, 1-time Stanley Cup winner with Tampa Bay, 2-time NHL All-Star Game selection. For his regular season stats, Andreychuk had 640 goals, which puts him at 15th all-time. 698 assists, which ties him at 59th with Brendan Shanahan, for a total of 1,338 points, which ties him for 31st with Denny Savard. Andreychuk made the playoffs in 18 of his 23 NHL seasons, compiling 43 goals, 55 assists for 98 points in 162 NHL playoff games played. The best seasons of his NHL career from a point standpoint was his 1992-93 season, where Anderchuk had 54 goals, 45 assists for 99 points in 83 games played with Buffalo and Toronto. And his 93-94 season, where Andreychuk had 53 goals, 46 assists for 99 points in 83 games played with Toronto. Boy, how depressing. Just one goal or 1 point short of 100 twice in your career. Just couldn't get there. Couldn't get that 100-point plateau. That would be disappointing.
Very.
Andreychuk scored 30 or more goals in 9 of his 23 NHL seasons. He also had 60 or more points in 11 of his 23 NHL seasons. So Dave Anderchuk was a fantastic player, point producer during his career. He is 5th all-time for points by a left winger in NHL history. I would have never guessed that, had no clue. I just like, oh, wow, that's interesting. During the end of his career, when he wasn't producing points at the same rate as earlier in his career, he became the veteran leader for the Tampa Bay Lightning and helped the Lightning win their first Stanley Cup in 2004. Andreychuk signed with Tampa Bay in 2001 when the Lightning were not very good, and he actually passed on signing with teams that were considered more of a Stanley Cup contender. When Tampa Bay missed the playoffs in his first season with them, Andreychuk refused to leave Tampa Bay, saying his work with them was not done. And it paid off as he led them to their first Stanley Cup ever in 2004 as their captain. It's a pretty interesting story. Like they told him they would move him to a contender. And he's like, nope, I'm good. Like, we're going to win this thing eventually. So that's, I like that. It's a pretty cool story.
Very cool story.
After his playing career, Andreychuk became a community representative for the Lightning. On February 4th, you know what this picture's from? This is his LinkedIn profile.
Really?
Yeah.
I just think community representative for the Lightning is.
But check it out. Check it out. Now, this is where it may have started as, here, have this job, do some things, but he actually moved up. So on February 4th, 2011, the Tampa Bay Lightning named Andreychuk as their vice president in charge of fans. I have never heard that title before, but I love it. He currently serves as the Lightning's vice president of corporate and community affairs.
He just milks paychecks. I'm happy for him. I don't think any of those are real jobs other than just shaking hands and kissing babies is what he makes.
I'm sure you got to make something important decision. You probably get a budget. You got to run through it. Also, Andreychuk created the Dave Anderchuk Foundation, which has a branch in Hamilton, Ontario and Tampa, Florida. The foundation has 3 major goals. Its 3 goals are to 1, assist children in need, 2, support causes for children and families enduring chronic and or life-threatening illnesses, and 3, encourage the investment of youth and amateur sports. All very good goals. I looked it up. It's got an active website. It looks like it's still going. That's one thing I always wonder about with these player charities, how long ago they started, and are they just dead? But I didn't go looking for the IRS forms or anything, but it looks like it's a legit still going on. And
there's a chance that Tampa funds that too.
Could be
just as part of like his compensation. That's a
definitely
right off for them.
Definitely. All right, fun, interesting facts. With the Maple Leafs, Andreychuk was nicknamed Uncle Dave. Not sure why. They just called him Uncle Dave. Andreychuk is ranked 2nd all-time in NHL history with 274 career power play goals. Number 1 is Ovi, who is sitting at 299. Andreychuk scored his first goal in his first NHL game.
You know who didn't do that?
Oh, who?
Conor Bard. He couldn't score a goal.
True. He got assist, though. He got a point at least. Yeah, Bedard failed. He did not score a first goal in his first shift on his first shot. I don't know. Whatever, dude.
Bad omen. Right? Bad omen.
Bad omen. Andreychuk is 2nd all-time for most games played before winning a Stanley Cup at 1,597. First was Ray Bourque, who won a cup after 1,612 games. At least you got one. I mean, that's the thing. There's a lot of guys who played a lot of games that never won a cup. In 2014, the Lightning revealed a statue outside their arena depicting Andreychuk lifting the Stanley Cup after winning it in 2004. I thought I had a picture of that. I don't. It's a really cool statue. Check it out online.
So think about that, though. He not only turned down going to a contending team in 2001, and that decision resulted in him getting a cup anyways in 2004.
Yep.
He just got a statue out of the deal. And
Yep.
he's like the vice president of Fun Times
Fun times.
for Tampa Bay. So
Yeah, pretty good.
talk about a great decision.
And he lives in Tampa, Florida, so nice weather usually if you can dodge the hurricanes. But they're on that. He's on the other side. Right, Tampa's on the west side of Florida. Yeah. All right. His rookie card. 1984-85 OPG number 17. PSA 10 has a pop of 44 with a gem rate of 7%. The last sale I could find was on October 1st of this year via eBay and verified in Terapeak for $152.50 US, and that's on a PSA 10.
No way.
Yep.
Wow. That's really, really cheap.
Yep.
So in this rookie card, again in 1984, very famed set.
Yep.
They have the action shot, and then they have the little circle profile in the bottom right corner.
Yep.
Kind of looks like a mugshot from juvenile detention, doesn't
It does. Yeah. It does. It's funny. Where was that other picture? I mean, happy Anderchuk. Mugshot. Anderchuk.
Mugshot from Juvie.
All right. So there we go. Next will be the almost greatest NHL player to wear number 26.
Almost greatest, almost famous.
Yep, there we go.
Got to make a quick mention for Gongshow partner Slab Sharks. Million thanks to them for helping us produce our little show here. Troy, the current Slab Sharks weekly eBay auction ends tonight. You said you had a bookmark?
I do. I have a couple cards.
Oh, yeah. I know what they are. Maybe we'll see those in personal pickups. So now you can watch hockey and bid on some amazing cards this evening, Troy. What's better than that? If y'all head to slabsharks.com for a link to the auction, you can peruse the selection and bid on your favorites. And if you miss the auction, it's okay. They run weekly auction, or once one weekly auction ends, the next begins. Also, if you're a Canadian hockey card collector and would like an easy and hassle-way free to sell your cards on eBay while exposing them to a large pool of collectors, Troy and I would recommend checking out Slab Sharks eBay consignment services. They make it super easy to sell your cards on eBay because, wow, they literally do all the work. You just send them your cards and relax or focus on other stuff. Their auctions also reach an already big and growing number of hockey card collectors in the US and Canada, ensuring lots of the right people will see your cards. And Troy, did you see the promo that they just announced?
I did. So Karn kind of mentioned they were thinking about doing something, and then it got announced finally. But I did see it, and you'll read it right now.
Yeah, he said they wanted to do something Conor Bard related.
Yep.
And I guess between now and June 1st, 2024, any Conor Bard card you consign with Slab Sharks, you'll have a 98% payout rate. So you get a nice Bedard hit and you sell it on your own eBay, you pay 13%.
Yep.
You sell it with Slab Sharks, you pay 2%. Plus, they get more eyeballs on their auctions.
Yep.
That is a great deal. There is still a $3 Canadian fee for any card that sells for less than 50 Canadian dollars, but I don't think that exists for Conor Bard. I've never seen it. So.
I mean, it has to be like a ripped up or a scratched off redemption might sell for less than $50.
What a great promo. Good job, Slab Sharks. So be sure to visit slabsharks.com for complete consignment information, including payout rates, and to get started consigning your cards with them today. Rookie Deep Dive returns, Troy.
All right, let's do it.
Got a new season underway. New flagship series drops next week. We're going to have a fresh crop of 50 brand new young guns. So it seems sense to bring back our Rookie Deep Dive series, given we're so close to that Series 1 release. And we want to start focusing on those guys that will be part of that brand new crop of 50 new young guns. But a little bit of housekeeping. Probably the two biggest stars of Series 1 are the two biggest chases we already did deep dives on last spring. So if you're interested in learning all about either Matthew Nyes or Luke Hughes, you'd have to go to episode 80 for Matthew Nyes and episode 84 for Luke Hughes. It's hard to believe that was like Matthew Nyes was 45 episodes ago.
Oh, a long time.
But like we typically do for our Rookie Deep Dives, we put up an Instagram poll the other day, threw out 4 options, and we let the people pick, Troy, because we are a show of the people, if nothing else. So here were the options: Devon Levi, Luke Evangelista, Matthew Coronado, and Tyson Forster. Troy, if this poll would have been a song, it would have been Landslide by Fleetwood Mac because it wasn't even close. Running away with the vote was your guy, Devon Levi, with 60%, followed by Matthew Coronado at 18%, Luke Evangelista at 14%, and coming in last was Tyson Forster at 8%. So that makes Devon Levi the Rookie Deep Dive subject for 2023-24. And I'll just to irritate you in a funny way, I want you to know I did consider, again, reading off every single name we've done a deep dive on, but I figured at some point it would just get ridiculous. It would like 57 minutes, like 3 years from now.
Josh reading and what episode they were on.
Yeah. Oh, believe it. Probably the longest show prep task I had for this show was trying to figure out what episode we did, Matthew Nyes. And
see, that's where my spreadsheet. I would have you should text me. I'd have found it in 30 seconds, each of them.
Okay. All right, let's dig in and learn more about Devon Levi. Levi is a Canadian goaltender, Troy. He's just 21 years old.
Yep.
Very young. As you've talked a lot about on our show, where a lot of times these guys are 24, 25 before they're seeing their first steady NHL action. So very, very young for Devon Levi. Comes in at 6 foot, 184 pounds. Little on the smaller side for the NHL prototype, right?
Yep.
He was the 212th overall pick in the 2020 NHL entry draft by your Florida Panthers, Troy.
That's why he was. I can guarantee you that's the main reason he was the 212th pick. The guy was a stud in college, absolute stud. And the height thing is just like such a big deal right now.
Mm-hmm. Then in 2021, Florida traded Levi and a conditional first-round pick to Buffalo for Sam Reinhart. That conditional first-round pick ended up turning into Yuri Kulich, who I think is in like the top 5 of Buffalo's prospect pool. Not that Sam Reinhart isn't a good player, because he is, but that's a pretty good trade for Buffalo.
Well, Sam Reinhart's been around a while too, right?
Yeah. After being drafted, Devon Levi played collegiately at Northeastern College in Boston, played there 2 seasons in 2021-22 and 2022-23. In 2021-22, he went 21, 10, and 1 with a amazing 1.54 goals against and a .952 save percentage with 10 shutouts. That's pretty good. Following that 2021 NCAA season, Levi won the Richter Award as college's top goalie. Then in 2022-23, a little bit of a drop-off, 17, 12, and 5, 2.24 goals against, and a .933 save percentage, 6 shutouts, but still pretty darn good. In 2021, he represented Canada in the World Junior Championships, going 6-1 with a .75 goals against and a .964 save percentage.
Pretty good.
Very good. I'm sure he's on a good team, too. That helped.
Yeah.
He also played in one game for Canada in the 2023 World Championships, where he got the win, letting in 2 goals. So Levi's going to do something pretty rare this season and jump straight from college right into the NHL action. And it's funny if you compare him to like our goalie wonderkind here with the Wild, Jesper Wallstedt. It seems like Jesper has like been waiting in the wings in the AHL for about a decade now.
I had to check and make sure Jesper is not Russian, because it seems like he's taking just as long to get over here as Kirill. Or he's over here. He's playing in Iowa, but we just kept hearing about him. We read all the reports. Number 1 draft or number 1 goalie prospect. I want to see him in the Wild uniform.
Last spring, when Levi signed with the Sabres following the end of his collegiate season at Northeastern, he saw a fair amount of action, starting 7 games. For the Sabres, he went 5-2, 2.94 goals against, .905 save percentage. I think that stint, his skill and pedigree have given the Sabres confidence to start him at the NHL level in 2023-24. Let's also factor in, too, that Buffalo's kind of desperate for some solid goaltending.
Yeah. What's our boy's name? Pekka UPL didn't light the world on fire.
So it might be a different story if they had Ilya Sorokin
as
their number 1 goaltender. Here's what Buffalo GM Kevin Adams said about Levi's jump. He said, "I know it's a short sample, but I think what he showed is maturity. No stage is too big for him. He's prepared." Attributes of Levi's game that coaches and legendary goalies like Martin Brodeur pointed out are his athleticism. A lot of people talk about his athleticism.
Yeah.
Apparently, very athletic goalie, very solid technique and fundamentals. And he's got the other thing that comes up most often is his mindset. And I just found him lots of comments about him being ready for the moment. Now, going back to the mindset, much has been made of Levi's Jedi Master esque meditation or mindfulness routine during puck stoppages, where what he'll do is he'll skate out to the blue line, he'll turn around, skate back, and then stop between the face-off circles and get into sort of a meditative pose. So I pulled this quote from an AP article that talks about this routine and why he does it and why he adopted it. And it says Levi's on ice meditation routine was inspired by actor Liam Neeson's character Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn in the 1999 Star Wars release of Phantom Menace. During a fateful battle, Neeson kneels to meditate when he and his combatant are separated by a force field. Levi doesn't bat an eye when reminded of Neeson's character dies shortly after the battle resumes. Levi thought of this part too. I kind of love that because you can't have. Now, here's a quote from Levi. I kind of love that because you can't have absolute certainty. You never know if it's going to work out or not. That's not why you do it, he said. You do it because it's the right thing to do in the moment. You don't know what the outcome is going to be, but you just have to let it go and let the present moment happen. And I think, like, when you read more quotes about why he does this routine, it's to stay present.
No.
And if you're watching on YouTube, it's a great photo where you've got all the arena workers cleaning the ice during those puck stoppages, which can be up to 5 minutes. And he's got all this commotion going around him, but he's in that very sort of zen place. Levi's got the skills, past performance, the cool, of course, Jedi meditation routine, and is awesome in interviews, is not like a standard quote guy. He really gives thoughtful responses. So I don't know. If he plays well, he's kind of got all the makings of a goalie star, don't you think?
Well, he's definitely got all the makings. We'll see how the height thing plays out. But there is an awesome article. Anyone that has an athletics subscription, again, go out and read it. Talks about all his meditation, how he was kind of in a rough spot, looking for something to do, what he can get his focus, right? Get his focus, and meditation became a big part of his routine. Yeah, his interviewing is awesome. He's definitely a guy I'm gonna PC. I really like his story. I hope he does well. I want to, like, what was it, the last preseason game where he got lit up kind of? I got a little nervous, but hey, that stuff happens.
7 goals.
Yeah, all goalies go through rough patches, but plus it's Buffalo, so it's a young, exciting team. I'm super excited for him.
Devon Levi, as we mentioned, is on the 2023-24 Series 1 Young Guns checklist that's out next week. So we'll see how much of a chase he is. But given how he performed in the poll, I'm expecting him to be a pretty strong chase out of the gate. And the key question, Troy, is going to be staying power. This is where we have to lean on what we've learned through the process of doing the show, our Gong Show rules. I think it's tough for any goalie to have, we might see $60+ prices on his young guns, but I would bet dollars to donuts at this point, no matter how well he plays. And I hope he plays great too, that by the time the Series 2 release comes out, it's a half or a third of that.
Yeah, definitely. So go ahead.
I'll just finish up by saying I would, if you're going to PC Levi, like it sounds like you might be wanting to do, my advice is stressing patience.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, that's my thing. It's just, I'm going to PC him. So obviously I want him to perform well, but I'm not going to I'll be smart about it. We'll put it like that. But, and we've said this before, but if his canvas Young Guns is not him in the meditation pose, then Upper Deck has failed us miserably.
Mm-hmm. All right. Hobby news. Vegas Golden Knights championship ring design was unveiled. And I got to admit, these things are really dope. They're pretty awesome. So here's the front of the ring. It's pretty standard. Lots of diamonds, lots of bling. The Golden Knights logo looks pretty sweet in it, though, with kind of the black and diamonds. intermixed. But the key, and I think we've seen this in some other sports, as kind of new little feature of these rings, is you can twist off the top of the ring and it unveils a, what is that, a cutout of
Yeah.
the, or
It's like a 3D,
engraved
it's almost like a 3D model of the rink. I mean, it's a very basic
the
one,
ring.
but or the
It's
stadium,
pretty
but
awesome. And they put stars on the ice for all 9 goals that were scored in their game. I think it was a game 5 cup clinching win. But the new wrinkle is on that, the top of the ring that you twist and it pops off of it. Inside of it's a little clasp that you can fold out and it becomes a pendant. So if you're now a guy like you, Troy, I know you wear tons of gold chains
I
on a
got
daily
lots of bling.
basis. You might prefer to have it be a pendant on a chain and not wear that bulky ring around on your finger. So it kind of gives you the option to do that. How many people are going to lose it though? That's what I think.
Yeah, it's that's one of those things where it's a great idea until it gets put into practice and it kind of breaks down. Do you know who created these rings?
It was some jeweler. It's not Jostens.
It's not. I was gonna say it's because okay, we got to tie everything to us. Jostens is a Minnesota company based in the Twin Cities, and they do a ton of the championship rings for teams. And actually, a person, I'm not gonna say how, but they're in Farmington. They work for Jostens and actually design the rings. That's some of the
Wow, that's
championship
cool.
teams. Yeah. So I was wondering if it was them.
I think it was a jeweler out
sounds
of Beverly Hills.
okay.
that did. Now on the side, one side of the ring says Vegas born and has a player's name and number with diamonds all around it. Kind of a cool look. I think this one, if you're watching on YouTube, is Jonathan Marchessault's ring. And then the other side of the ring, it says always advance, which is, can do better than that. But what I love about this side of the ring is the Stanley Cup in diamonds
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
is pretty awesome. And then, of course, because we're a stat show, we got to give some of the details on these puppies. 12 carats of white and yellow diamonds you were used to in the ring. So that's a lot. It kind of got me thinking, aside from the collectability, just from the raw materials standpoint, I wonder how much these cost.
Oh, they got to be upwards 30 grand, right? 30 to 50 a piece, you'd think. I don't
Maybe.
know. I have no clue. I have nothing like it. As much as I love wearing bling, I don't have anything like this.
So good job, Vegas, on the rings. All right, Troy, you had some wanted to cover some kind of sad news.
Just quick. It's nothing we're gonna go too far into, but Barry Melrose announced his retirement from ESPN. And this doesn't, again, have a big hockey card hobby impact, but just wanted to mention it in case people haven't heard. Barry Melrose announced his retirement from ESPN due to his diagnosis with Parkinson's disease, which is really sad. Melrose was with ESPN for almost 30 years and has been involved in hockey in some capacity for over 50 years as a player, coach, and analyst. Definitely sad news. We wish him the best. Whatever your thoughts are on Melrose, he had a passion for hockey that was hard to match. Plus, he had this legendary flow and mullet. It will always be his trademark. He even did a special on Mini Flota and the hockey hair that we have at our Minnesota high school state hockey tournament for the boys that everyone just loves. There's always the videos that come out, and they're fantastic. They're hilarious. But yeah, Barry Melrose, I mean, this mullet has lasted all his career. Young mullet, old mullet, and then not that. But yeah, so sad news. Just want to let everyone know, but hopefully they can get him taken care of. And it kind of stinks that forced him into retirement.
Absolutely. Wishing him all the best. And he did leave a significant imprint on the game of hockey. And I think it does in a tangential way tie into the hobby because it's guys like this that, just like the TNT crew now or the ESPN crew, that really connect fans to the game of hockey, which provides a pathway into hockey cards as well. Okay, our last story in hobby news real quick. There is some more player movement news as final rosters were set for opening day. A couple of notable players that we have going down to the AHL. So David Urasek, the defenseman from Columbus, was re-signed to the AHL. Connor McMichael, I know a lot of people we hear about in social media a lot. They're pretty excited about him. He had a really decent preseason game. I think he scored a couple goals maybe, but he was sent back down to the HL. And then a slew of talented young Red Wings prospects, Elmer Soderblom, Jonathan Bergeron, and Simon Edvinson were all sent down to the HL. Then I found Troy a little bit of like sneaky injury news. We have a
Oh,
couple of young prospects that are starting the season on IR. Leo Carlson, had you heard that?
I did not hear that.
Lower body injury. Saw the news. He had to be helped off the ice in a
Oh,
practice last week. That
that
doesn't sound great.
stinks.
And then Matthew Savoy, who we've been talking about a little bit on our last couple of shows, who was the third overall pick in the 2022 NHL draft. He has a you could guess shoulder
Okay,
injury.
here come the shoulders.
Now, I think the IR can just be a matter of a few games in hockey. So I don't know, or it was not known in the articles I read if either of them will miss any significant time. But kind of big news, especially with Leo Carlson going to
Hmm.
start the season on the IR. Okay, we're going to move on and kind of transition into new product releases. And where we want to start is a great conversation that I had the other day with Billy Celio in regards to 2022-23 Allure. It was released today on Wednesday. And we got pretty excited once we saw the checklist and looked over the sell sheet for the product because we saw a couple of new releases. And as you guys know, when products come out, when a checklist comes out, we'll typically break it down. And it just worked out with Billy's availability where instead of us trying to like figure out what the heck's going on, have Billy actually break down the checklist with us and go through some of the cards. And if you happen to be watching on YouTube too, he had just done they go through I think a case to just see what the fruits of their labor were, see how the cards turned out, and helps them as they're working on subsequent sets. And so he had a bunch of cards that he's able to talk about and show throughout the interview as well. So we're going to roll right now with our convo about 2022-23 Allure and some other stuff with Billy Celio. All right, got to welcome Billy Celio from Upper Deck back to the show. Talk about Allure, which came out yesterday. I think a lot of really cool things that I had researched in the checklist that basically we have to look forward to with the lure, and probably some of you already have it in hand. But when we normally go through these checklist breakdowns as products come out, it's usually Billy, Troy, and I trying to figure out what you guys were doing. So I'm really excited to have you on the show to actually go through it with you and get it straight from the horse's mouth, as they say. Well, welcome.
Thanks. When I was on Jeremy's show, for being a guest multiple times, he would give me a gift. I'd like to thank you guys for this bowling pin that you sent me. No, I'm just kidding. That's just on my desk. You got me in my habitat here, but anyway, sorry. Let's
We have
go.
stickers, so we'll get you all stickered up, Billy,
Hey,
because I know
I've got
you're a big sticker collector,
I've
right?
got the you can't see it, but I have a wall of anyone in the industry that has a sticker. I put their sticker up there. I can't
Well,
wait.
it's funny too because if you do any sort of internet searches, a lot of people say you're a big fan of stickers.
Oh, touche.
Shots fired. Shots no, all joking. No, I'm really excited to talk about Allure. And when 2021 came out, what was it like last spring, early last spring? Troy and I both thought it was a pretty big step forward as compared to 2020. And just me perusing the checklist and talking to you a little bit before we started recording, it seems like you guys really made a concerted effort to push the product even further forward and really try to kind of carve out its identity. Am I right there?
Yeah, great point. Last year I think it took a couple years for people really to latch on to Allure. I had a conversation with my boss Grant, and he felt a couple of our inserts that we added last year kind of really added to the brand, like stuff like the 16-bit and a few parallels and whatnot. So, like I say every time we talk about a product, it's just like I'm excited about the one that's coming out, but I always seem more excited about the next one. And I think we probably would have had that conversation last year where I was excited about Allure last year, but I was really excited about the next year's version, and now we're to the next year's version. And I would say, in all honesty, I think it exceeded my expectations. We just literally opened up a case. We got our, test case, and I can say that everything fell according to plan. So I was very happy about that, and the cards look absolutely gorgeous. Our design team did a great job, really adding, you know, some high level designs to this set, and they look stunning.
So you mentioned that Grant said that there was a couple of good inserts, and there's the Easter egg 16-bit, and there were some nice new additions last year. But what else did you learn from the 2021 release that you wanted to either apply going forward, or enhance, or maybe do differently?
You know, when you get these chromium style packs and cards, a lot of times, like I'll open up competitor packs and I just see a lot of silver. I don't see a lot of color. When you hit color, it's something special. I understand that, and it's great. But from a pack opening standpoint, you got 8 cards, and it looks like 8 silver or 7 silver cards, and maybe one color, or 7 silver cards and a rainbow-looking card. I really wanted to add. I mean, the product's called Allure. It really should,
Sure.
pop out. So, we added colors. We wanted stuff to look bright, colorful, and and last year we added like the color flows, like the rainbows that you
Yep.
made. That was another like fun addition that we added, and we actually built upon the color flow, where we have the color flow spectrum. So the average collector can collect the color flow, and now if you really want to challenge, you can get the color flow spectrum. Now people are like, oh well, there's probably a number 1 to 1. No, the lowest number is still 35. So it's not out of the reach to be able to create a color flow spectrum card. I mean, granted, there's only 35 people that could do it for that final blue purple, but it's still attainable.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like draft day marks that have very similar print runs to
Yep.
each of the letters in the player's last name.
And
To
what's cool is you can make your own color flow. It doesn't all have to be the same player. You can just
Yeah.
make 5 separate players that you like and make a nice little rainbow. The design is set to kind of connect with each other.
Mhm. Well, we'll get more into that in a minute, but I want to start actually with the base set. So the base set for 2022-23 Allure has 100 bets in the checklist, and you actually showed me. Would you mind showing me
Oh,
again
sure.
the base card design?
Yeah, you can see. Oh, yeah, you can see right
Yeah.
there. Like there's the base design, but notice something different. It's not just regular, chrome. It's the rainbow. Like you're starting off with rainbow. You're not like sitting there searching for packs for rainbows. This card here, it looks like a spectrum look card. Just right out the bat, the base cards look absolutely stunning. I'll get a little bit closer so you can kind of really see the
That is
design.
really
But
cool.
our design team did a great job coming up with a design, and then, as I said, us just applying the proper technology to it. I think these came out great.
100%. Now, was there like when you go or approach a set like Allure like this, and it's time to come up with those initial base design concepts? Is there a specific direction that you give to the designer? Is there a theme that you kind of communicate that you want to come through in the cards, or is this just whatever the inspiration of that designer or design team was?
So we do want a player, we do want some natural background, but we want a big border or some sort of big area. So then when you get something like the red rainbow parallel, it's a red rainbow parallel. Look at all the red on that card. you
Yeah,
still have you still have your natural background, you still have the player there, but you can tell that this is the red parallel. you know and then you've got your black rainbow parallel. You can tell that that's the parallel. So that's kind of the design that we give. Give us some. I don't want just like I don't want it to look like a PMG. I want it to on Chrome. I want it to give it some natural background. Give it some really cool line work. There's some etching on some of these cards. So take advantage of it. Create something very eye appealing, and then make sure that when we add colors to it, that it's obvious and it's very colorful.
yeah. And what I would say too about what kind of I guess is a earmark of Allure in the base designs. It's a very parallel driven product, a lot of die cuts in the parallels too. And there are a couple new parallels this year. There's a photo variation, right? That's new.
Yep. We have I got my stack here. We do have the
Nice.
photo variation. So like you see right here, as an example, you got the Austin Matthews. And now we're not going to do this for every product. We want you to look at your base cards, but right there, we put it there for you.
Nice.
So
Oh,
if
Troy's
you
going to
sit,
be elated
yeah,
with that.
there it says photo variation. So if you like, man, my pack is short a hit, you can sit, oh, look, there it is, photo variation right on the back. So clear as day. There shouldn't be, I mean, we're not going to put it on the front and just have this big photo variation, but it is there, big letters, so you can see it. And all the parallels actually have the call outs on them. Here's an orange slice here. You can
Yep.
see right there on the back, orange slice. There, whoops, drop the color. Sorry, Stutzel. There you go.
There will be a number of photo variations because I was looking at the sell sheet. So it looks like they're one and out of every 15 packs. So that's something you're going to want to definitely do is check the backs of the cards. The other new parallel I'm hoping you have in hand because the name immediately caught my attention. The gold glitter bomb, which in hobby will be out of 199. Do you have any of those?
We do. It's funny. The designer broke the box with us, or broke the case with us, and she specifically remembered a conversation. I was at the airport, and she's just like, "What gold do you want for these cards?" Because it's called Gold Glitter Bomb. I go, "I don't want gold. I want yellow. I want it to be bright yellow, but gold."
Yeah.
So. Um, you can see it's bright and it's very glittery and it
Wow. That is a cool card, Billy. That is
yeah,
really,
I think it came out really good. Just something different. Didn't want
I,
to didn't want to dig into all the different animal skins or whatever. I mean, I think we still have our leopards, but just wanted something different. And that was inspired my good friends. They do the Chinese New Year, and they buy those big tubes where you
yep.
like turn
Yep.
it and shoot it. And I got one of those shot at me, and it took probably about weeks to get all the stupid glitter off of me. And and I'm just like, it'd be kind of cool to make a card that kind of looks like that with just glitter all over the place. So those premiered, I believe, in the Funko set that we built, and so this is our first version of it in the Allure.
So that's an example of how you borrow maybe new technologies or new printing techniques from other products and apply them to hockey as well. That's kind of cool. There's 50 rookies in the base set. One of the questions that I don't think I've asked you before is it seems like when we look at checklists that are coming out about every week now because you guys are releasing so many products that you'll typically see either 50 rookies on a checklist or 100. How do you guys decide where to go in that direction, or why is there that level of variance from set to set?
So if there's only like one or two good Red Wing rookies, we'll only have 50. If there's like four or five good
Oh,
Red Wing rookies, that's say that real fast, then we'll have
Red
100.
Wing rookies, yeah,
Yeah, no, just kidding. That has a lot to do, and little. It's not an industry secret, but a lot of forms that we print on, we call, where they're called like 100 ups. So basically, you can fit 100 cards on a form. And so when you do that, you can do one of two things. You can have 100 rookies. You can have rookies along with veterans. Sometimes they mix the rookies in with the set. So then you can do however many rookies you want. Other times, 50, you're basically just putting 50 rookies on the form twice. And then
gotcha,
they cut it. So that's why 50 and 100 are pretty popular. Um, it has a lot to do with the form size.
gotcha. That makes sense. The other thing that's pretty noticeable about the rookies is that we have a small checklist of extended rookies, or what people often refer to as XRCs. Now, I knew of this with the lure back in 2020 because as a Minnesota guy, and Kirill Kaprizov was an XRC that year, but then there weren't any in 2021, and now that's back. So, what I'd love for you to do, because I don't know if there's a lot of newer collectors that listen and watch our show, just what is an XRC and why Did you have XRCs in 2020, not in 2021, but now we do again in 2022?
So they were supposed to be in there the last few years, but the product came out uh, so late that we had actually printed the cards, and so we said, let's just put the printed cards
Oh, I
in
got
there.
you.
A lot of it has to do with the schedule and the time. You know, we'll probably have a conversation about Series One with all the holdover rookies and no new skating rookies, and a lot of that has
Yeah.
to do with the scheduling of when these cards need to be printed, when the pre-press and the vendors need to have these forms by so they can start printing it. And unfortunately, that it's usually before anyone skated, and unless you are able to cut the cards a certain way, which is very expensive, you are kind of stuck with, respecting that date. Now, what's unfortunate sometimes is then the product still gets delayed, but it's delayed not because of the checklist or anything like that. It's delayed after the fact, and then you're like, well, they had time. Obviously, you'd sit there and say we had time to put these rookies in. Well, unfortunately, when we had to turn all of our files in for these products, um, we didn't have time.
So
So,
all
but
the XRCs, are they redemptions then? Is that what you're saying?
um, that is a great question. I don't have the master checklist in. I want to say we printed some of them, and some of them are redemptions.
Okay.
It kind of I think some of the non I don't quote me. I want to say some of the non-autos are not redemptions, and the autos potentially
Yeah.
are redemptions because of the time that we had in between them being printed and having the autographs.
And just so you know, so just the base XRC rookie checklist is Shane Wright, Yuri Slavkovsky, Jake Sanderson, Wyatt Johnston, Andrei Kuzmenko, and Kirill Marchenko. So those are like Series 2 guys last year. So is it typically guys that made their debut later and then
Yeah,
made it harder to kind of get in with the original information that you needed to submit? So
yeah. So remember when I was saying like there's a specific way that you can cut stuff where you can remove players if they don't skate.
yeah,
Well, in like a base set, those aren't cut that way. It would cost like 10 times the amount to sort those cards. There is one Shane Wright card that is in. I believe they did the checklist, but I believe Shane Wright, because it was on that type of a form, actually has a 16-bit card. So
yeah.
we were able to sneak him in there because we anticipated that he would skate, and I had our designers create one extra 16-bit card in case we could use him. And obviously, he did start the season with the Kraken, and so we were able to put him into the set. Um,
Well,
but
that's a really interesting point, though, Billy, and I think good for us collectors to remember. So, if I'm understanding you correctly, and just kind of mentally going through the timeline here, you guys were submitting the players for 2022 before last season even began, and you're saying, right, that you were anticipating that Shane Wright was going to skate, but at the time you did that, it sounds like you took a little bit of a risk,
mhm,
and because if he didn't skate, then you couldn't, for kind of the rules you guys have, you use the cards. So it sounds like that this it was decided who's going to be in this set even before last year began.
yep, 100%. To put things into perspective, um, 24, 25 Allure, I believe, is going to be started to get worked on and should be, presented to our team in about a month. That's 24, 25. I'm not talking about waiting for Conor Bedard to skate. I'm
Yeah.
talking about waiting for the next year's rookies. So if that kind of puts things into perspective of how early things start, I believe our Allure paperwork is due in about a month. So
Huh.
yeah,
Interesting.
I took a risk on Shane Wright. It was a minimal. I want to say minimal risk, but like it's not something that we could have done for multiple players. But we did take one for him, and luckily it paid off.
Yeah, definitely. And I think too is kind of another thing I'm pulling from this conversation is that in these early products for a new release year like 2020 that you're gonna see a lot of redemptions or a lot of XRCs just due to the timing and when those people are submitted. So I guess that makes sense to me. So I have a question too about just kind of the last on the base and rookie base set. There is, as per usual, the 101 Golden Treasures card.
Yes.
Why didn't you guys use the same name for that card as an OPG Platinum?
Because superfractor is superfractor, and our our competitors use superfractor as their one-on-ones. We our one-of-ones are called golden treasures, and we
Okay.
keep that name throughout
No, that makes a
for
lot
our
of
chrome
sense.
products. Like if we were to build another chrome product, the one-of-ones would still be called golden treasures.
Okay. Good to know. As far as now, I want to kind of transition into autos a little bit. And it's no secret there's been some funkiness, we'll call it, with the last couple months releases as it relates to rookie autos. Did everything go according to plan with this set? Are we missing anyone, or is everybody there?
Well, I can show you. Here we have again. We're not. We You saw the hold the we're basically using holdover rookies
Yep.
from the previous year, and then we have the other ones. But as you can see, we have our Boldy
Yep.
autograph right here, and I know Beniers is in here also. So, those went out as live autographs.
Nice.
Everything's fine. Don't sweat it out. Let me see if we got it. Here's a beautiful card. There's the color flow Pearson. Nice little red
Nice.
wing there. Yep. So,
Nice.
and then my coworkers love the Wright goal. Think he's going to have a big year
Oh yeah.
because there's some other guy that he's going to be skating with probably that'll help him out.
We did a live YouTube show. It was the first one we ever did, the night of the draft lottery. So when Chicago found out that got the number one pick,
Hmm.
and Troy was watching, almost instantly, Lucas Reichel cards spiked.
Yep.
It was like one
Yep.
of the most amazing things. For like 3 days, they were kind of the hottest hockey card out there. I think I know this, but I just want to ask to make sure everyone has a proper expectation. Autos and Allure are typically stickers, correct?
Yes, they are 100% stickers.
Okay.
I thought you were going to ask me if Conor Bard was in the set, and I'll be like, whoa, 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 whoa. No, just kidding. Um, yes, they are sticker autographs. They've always been sticker autographs. They've meant to be sticker autographs.
Yep.
Because it comes out early in the year, we don't have time. Well, it's supposed to come out earlier in the year. We just don't have time to get these cards signed because it takes a while for these cards to be made.
Mhm. Okay, I want to go into inserts real quick because there's a lot of kind of exciting things to talk about. And once again, and you have the habit of doing this, which I really love, by the way, is paying homage to the physical, the enforcer players with the
Yes.
new check please insert that I think is one and out of every 90 packs. And I'm really excited actually for you to show this card because we've talked to you before quite a bit about how it's really, I mean, you guys take fine photos, but there's just some things in cards that aren't translated in the images that come in cell sheets. And when you showed me the check please card earlier, I didn't understand like how kind of glossy or the foiling in the background, how much that made the card stand out and how nice it looks.
Well, the designer, she was just like, this was the first design I gave I gave direction on what I was looking for. I come from the restaurant business, to be honest with you. I worked as manager, general manager in a couple of establishments, and I was just like, it's almost combining my two worlds. So check please. It's just like this is perfect. I love my goons, and so we made a nice little. It looks just like one of those receipts that you get from a diner. And this is what's even funnier. If you look on the back, and this is where she's like, yeah, I went a little rogue. You got the coffee stain on the back with a little
Awesome.
thanks smiley face on it. It's very clever. She's just like, you might like this, you might not. She's like, I'm like, looks great. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Like it just has the like it
What's
looks
the
like a diner
background?
service.
What's
He's checking somebody. Oops, on this
Yeah,
side.
but what's the material on the background? Is
Oh,
that
it's part of it's the chrome. They
okay?
just
It's a chrome.
they knocked all this out. Like it's called an opaque white when you kind of cover up the shiny foil part of it.
Gotcha.
So they opaqued it, and then the back is the chrome shining through. But
And
yeah, I love
connect
it.
the whole concept of check please with enforcers. Like, what's the connection there?
Well, they're getting checked, checked into the boards. That
I
was
gotcha.
that was
I
the
gotcha.
kind of what we were looking for.
I gotcha. Okay, we talked a little bit about the color flow cards, but I want to get into those quite a bit. So last year was I think they were called like color connected rainbows or something like that.
Yeah,
And
that was
now
my
you,
fault. Grant's like, give him a name.
yeah,
So
I like
I'm
color
like, "Oh,
flow. I
yeah,
think it
that was
flows.
that's his. He's like, call him color flow.
There you
Okay,
go. Well,
done.
there's actually two different styles this year, or
Yep.
there's kind of I guess I termed it in my notes a base. So almost real similar to last year, where you have four that none of them are numbered. There's varying pack odds. It's a little tougher as you get to the end, but it's
Mhm.
basically yellow, green, green, blue, blue, purple, or sorry, it's orange, yellow, yellow, green, green, blue, and blue, purple.
Yeah, it
And
might start
then
red, orange though.
oh, it does start red orange.
Just kidding.
Now I'm all confused. So there's five. But then there is the Spectrum set that are all numbered, but like you said earlier, not crazily numbered, so that it will be maybe tough in some regards, but somewhat achievable. And that's where the red orange starts out of 100, the orange yellow out of 85, yellow
Yeah,
green out of 65, green
you can
blue out of
kind of
50, and blue purple out of 35.
see the different. Like there's the regular
Yeah,
one, and then you got the spectrum one, and it's got some nice numbering on the back. Sorry, whoever wanted the Lafreniere numbered out of 26, we pulled it. You're not gonna get it. But yeah, so it's a little bit of a difference. So we did the color flow. It was a cool concept. People always talk about collecting the rainbow of stuff. I'm like, well, why is there no actual rainbow kind of card to do? So that's where the concept came up last year. And then we're sitting in the room, and I had it like kind of built the same way where it's just like there's a bunch of ratioed, and then at the end the last one I think was numbered out of 199,
yeah,
the blue purples last year. And Grant's just like, no, you should do two versions of it. And he's just like, make another one, make it even fancier, but do one that's all ratioed. But he's like, you should do a numbered one that's even a tougher chase, something that because
yeah,
people like the chase, but people might want an even tougher chase. Like there's different type of collectors. Been here 10 years, and I still learn from this guy every day. And so we decided to do the Spectrum version of it, and yeah, it helps add more numbered cards to the set. They're beautiful looking cards. The designer did a great job of coming up with the design that intertwined uh, throughout the design, like throughout the five cards. It's not just a plain simple red, orange. Yeah, it's got
yeah.
this wave to it and everything, which they did a great job. It took a few tries to get it down, but I think we came up with something really good. I say my designer did all the work.
Sure. Well, now you get to come on our show and take all the credit. So
Exactly, exactly.
there you go. Then the big one from last year, of course, was 16-bit. It was an Easter egg. It was a huge hit. I mean, I would say like going over the last 6 months, the all-time Future Watch autos and the 16 bits are probably the newer cards or types that have resonated the most with collectors. Very, very desired. And so I was curious when the checklist came out to see how 16-bit would be treated. And you guys made the decision to not have it be an Easter egg for 2022-23 and actually put it on the checklist. Why did you do that?
Because it was such a big hit. I why hide it? Like if that's what people wanted to see, if that's what people are, liked most about the set, why give them like what if they say, "Oh, well maybe that was a 1 year thing and they're not bringing them back." Now that being said, we brought them back, but they're still just as scarce. You're not going to see one in one case. You're not going to see one in two cases. I'm not going to keep counting down until you finally see one. But they are they're very rare, and there's not a lot of copies of each. They're still gorgeous. We were fortunate enough to actually pull one in our box. We have, and it's a new design too. So we challenged our designer to come up with a new design. The back's kind of cool too. It's just kind of, it still has that old video game feel to
Yep.
it. And it was still like, and this isn't like putting a picture into a program and it boop pops out, this image. It's not like these new AI things that everybody's doing on their social media. Like, we have an artist that actually creates these specific photos. If they
Mhm.
do have a program, man, they're pulling a fast one on us, and congratulations, take all of our money. But because they look great anyway. But no, we have an artist that does this, and so pretty happy with how they came out. So yeah, and that means that maybe we have some other Easter eggs out there for people to find. But they were a huge hit. We don't want to overdo it. I think there might be, yeah, no, it's just the regular version of it. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's it's a fun card.
Well, there's 20
And
cards on the checklist. Like you said, the odds are pretty tough. So it's 1 in 810 pack odds, which kind of feels like in like the jambalaya range to me. If I had to make a comparison, that's what I feel that in metal, that's what kind of the odds are for one of those cards. So again,
what'd you say the odds were?
1 in 810.
Oh yeah, see, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, we did post those odds then. Okay.
And
Yeah,
then
I
one
mean,
in, then doubled for retail. So 1 in 1,620 packs for retail.
yeah, there's 100 and something packs per case.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of cases still.
1 in out of every 8 cases. Now, probably the big splash with 16-bit is gonna be, Wayne makes an appearance. So Wayne Gretzky, had to
Yeah.
throw him in there.
We
Also,
we had to
Austin
d-
Matthews, first time.
yep, we had to we did dupe up on some players, and people are like, "Why did you it's not the same design." So we do understand we don't want to necessarily put the same people every single year, but it's a new design, so we decided to do another Connor McDavid in this new design. But the Wayne Gretzky one's pretty cool. He's in his Kings outfit. I
Okay.
figured I know people like around that time he was a king.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That makes sense.
we purposely put him as a king because that would be kind of equal to the time of when he would have had, that video game kind of uh, feel to it. So
Mhm. Yeah, I believe McDavid, Ovi, and Sid are the 3 that are on the checklist for 2022 that had 16 bits in the prior release. So those are the
yeah,
3. And then there's new ones like I think Patrick Kane and some other notable players as well, along with rookies, Beniers, Boldy, and you had mentioned Shane Wright a
yep,
little bit ago. So really excited to again see more of those. The one though that or another card that caught my eye right away on your sell sheet was the doubloons, and
yeah,
I have a couple questions about this. Number one, it's not quite the chase that Jambalaya or no, sorry, jeez, I got that in the brain. That 16-bit are, but still one in out of 160 packs, so pretty tough odds again there. Pretty big checklist. You got 100 cards on it, and the card looks very gold, which we know plays well in the hobby. But then on the
hmm
sell sheet, it says laser etching on the dual side platinum finish. So I know you have one to show, but it just would be great for you to kind of walk through this card for us.
Well, first off, I'm gonna do some math here. So you got 20 cards times um 810. Or wait, no. How
That was
many?
16
Eight,
bit, 810.
18. I know. 18 times 9 equals 162. What I'm trying to say is the checklist for doubloons is 100 cards. The checklist for 16-bit is 20
20.
cards. So it's you
Same
say
odds.
that they're close. They're actually pretty close to each other. Like, you have to get 100 cases if you want that McDavid doubloons
Yep.
card. So it's still pretty tough. I understand. Don't get me wrong. 16-bit is very tough, but these doubloon cards. Now, I will say one thing. Unfortunately, the etching didn't happen on it. They were supposed to be etched, and not everyone's perfect, but they are still gorgeous cards. I've got one right here. Now, you can see. real shiny. You can see it's got the line work and the designs and everything in the background. What you can't see is you turn it a little bit and you can see it has like this yellow filler in between.
Yeah.
Oh, but you've got chrome on the back. It's a dual-sided chrome card. Chrome, chrome, gold filler, everything gold.
Very
So
cool. So you say the etching didn't happen. Was that just a timing thing? Did you find it was impossible with this card? Could that maybe happen down the road in
I
Allure?
think it can happen down the road.
Okay.
Like I said, sometimes not everyone's perfect, but we still got a gorgeous card. I mean,
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
this thing reeks gold, and it's got a nice feel to it too. It's about a 60-point card, and it doesn't feel like a jersey card. It feels like you got almost like a metal card in your hand because it's so thick.
Mhm. Well, those were kind of the ones that really stood out to me. What else do we need to know about with Allure? What other
Ooh,
cards are you pretty excited about?
what am I excited about? Jeez, what am I not excited about? Other than the fact these cards look gorgeous. Um, let's see. I can go over some of the inserts. We have like our game still cards, which kind of feature in-game action imagery of players. Um, the runway cards look pretty cool. Got those right there. Um, and these have parallels too. So some of these like the runway parallels look really nice.
Oh yeah, do look very
And
very nice.
and then the blockers is kind of cool. Like the background. Let me find a non-parallel. The background is basically it's a whole bunch of blockers stacked up almost like a Lego house there.
Got to have
And
the
then
that feature the goalies.
yeah, and
So
then there's the different parallels. If you, you've caught on to some of my not necessarily tricks, but you know, you you want to have a lot of inserts that have a lot of top players in it, obviously,
yeah,
but but there's still a lot of player collectors out there that appreciate us. But like I was a big I like Nicholas Cronwell on the Red Wings, like,
yeah,
and you didn't find as many like insert cards with him on there. So I tried to do something for those guys every once in a while. People love their goalies, so I try to do a nice little goalie insert and kind of go from there. Um, but you'll usually find some sort of goalie themed insert in a lot of the sets that I build. Here's some other parallels. We've got this is the green. And actually, I noticed you mentioned about die cut cards. I believe the green and the orange are the only die cut cards this year. And
okay. So there's a little bit
maybe the
less.
purple. There's less, but yeah, there's like I'm looking. You're gonna get one, orange in every box, and that's a die cut card. And then the greens are numbered to 99, and those are die cut. I don't believe the purples are die cut anymore. I believe they're just regular. Here's one of our blue line parallels. The steel almost looks like the old regular base card, but it kind
Yeah,
of has that aluminum feel to it.
yeah.
Um, look out for these. Oops, that might be an Easter egg.
So there are Easter eggs. Well, that's good to know.
Um,
Big fan of the
uh,
Easter eggs.
here's our leopard. I don't know if that's an Easter egg or not. If it
So
is,
tell me the story with the pink leopard parallel.
do you want the
It seems
truth?
I want the truth, of course. We always
Okay,
want the truth.
I'm going to explain this. I'm giving away some card secrets here. So I've got to find the card. Okay. So you've got a regular card
Yeah,
here. So these are printed with the the printing plates, the four printing plates, and then a black. So you've got the cyan, the magenta, the cyan, magenta. Why am I drawing a blank? Um,
yellow and black.
yes. So you got the four plates, and that's what makes these cards. And so you can add what we call like another black on there. And a PMS color. And a PMS color is like what makes this card. We added like a grayish color to all this stuff is just a regular PMS
Yeah,
color and it changes to black. So we don't have to pay for all new plates. You can just change the color here. So with something like this, where we changed the back color to a pink and we added another black, and the black are the dots to it. So instead of having to do a whole new 4-color, which for something like this, the whole background, you would have to make an all new 4-color for it because it's different than your regular base. We just add a color and another black to make the spots for it, and it is a much more efficient way of building a card.
Oh,
So
I got
that's why I did the leopard. And then I'm like, pink leopard. I've seen that before. Like we had a regular
you. Yeah.
leopard and a pink leopard when it first came out. And I thought the pink ones kind of popped, so we still have those. But that's a trick of the trade. There is trying to cut back on the printing costs and still making a cool card. Got to be
By
creative.
PMS, I assume you mean Pantone color matching,
Yeah.
which was what
Yes.
any print
Sorry.
designer users.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Throwing out. Don't give it the other meeting.
No.
Trying to
Well,
think
yeah.
if
Pantone
I have
allows
any.
you to make sure that if somebody says red, that it's the right tint and tone of red that the designer envisions, whether it's printed on by any printing facility on any medium, anything sort of like that, to ensure like for a brand that has a very specific color in their logo, they would use those Pantones to,
Mhm.
and this is a universal way of printing.
Yep. So, and then we have the Allure quartz again, our back, nice little die cut card, some design in the background and shininess. Um, the big thing, and you had talked about like the packs. So they're 8-card packs in a box. Here's a
Yep.
nice picture of the box, nice waviness to it. Um, we have what we call 4 base and 4 chase in it. So you're going to get 2 base cards in the front, 2 base cards in the back. You're going to get a rookie card, 1 rookie per pack. So I know in the past we've kind of mixed it up. We decided to just make it 1 rookie per pack, kind of add to the chase level to that. Um, you're going to get a color flow card. Each pack will have a color flow card in it. And I believe the checklist, let me double check here. Sorry. Yeah, there's 100 subjects. So,
Yeah.
you know, you're going to get a ratioed color flow card. It could be an easy one, a harder one. There's the red orange is 1 out of 2. The orange yellow is 1 out of 4. Yellow green is 1 out of 8, and the green blue is 1 out of 12, and the blue purple is 1 out of 24. So you're gonna get your color flow card. Then you're gonna get I said the rookie. Oh, you're gonna get a ratioed parallel. So you're gonna get usually you get about 5 of the black parallels. You're gonna get 3 of the red parallels. And this includes the rookies also. So it's the
Yep.
base and the rookies. It's not split up. And you're gonna get per box 1 of the orange parallels. So there's your third chase. And then your fourth chase is going to be like an insert. One of our inserts, like the blockers or the iced out or the game stills, runways. It's going to be one of those. You're going to get one of those. I believe it's set up to where you get an auto in every box also. Um, uh, Not guaranteed, but I'm pretty sure it's 1 per box. I just say that in case it's not guaranteed, and then someone's like, "I didn't get my auto."
I was looking
But
at the sell sheet. It does say one autograph or
okay,
one
there you
auto
go.
relic
Yeah,
card.
gotta be careful what you say sometimes. So
I know.
okay, if it says 1 auto and the sales sheet says 1 auto, yeah, we pulled 1 auto per box. So you're gonna get one of those, and you're also gonna get like you're probably gonna get a couple numbered cards per or rare ratioed cards. Like the steel parallel, I can look right now. That's a pretty rare. That's 1 in 135 for the base and 1
Sure.
in 270 for the rookies. So those are rare parallels, and there's the pink leopards and the other Easter egg ones. So you're gonna get like rare cards. So you feel good. It's you get some base cards. The base cards are beautiful, but you're getting one of these color flows. You're getting a colored parallel. And then you're getting something else. A lot of times you'll open up a pack and your one hit is going to be a colored parallel, or your one hit's going to be an insert card. You're getting a little bit of everything. Sound familiar? Upper Deck Series 1.
Haven't heard of
Lo
it.
yeah, lots of content. So we're really excited about this. Like I said, Grant will tell you, like, a lot of times when we do these breaks, I'm kind of just like, okay, all right, things fell correctly. Good, good, good. Was pretty happy when I opened up this case with my coworkers on how it looked. I hope everybody's cases looked like the ones we had. And when I said look like the ones we had, we got what we were supposed to get.
Yeah.
There's no surprises. Like, if everything fell according to how it was supposed to fall, you got your one doubloon. We got all of our rookies, we got all of our parallels, we got all of our color flows, we got our numbered cards or rare parallels, like we got our autographs. It was a great case. So from the, like when I say a great case, that's what I'm talking about, a great case. Everything fell according to plan. So
Mhm.
I'm happy about it.
Reasonably centered, or in the cases that you got.
As
Again, you
far
can't
as
expect
as
perfect,
far as I
but
know, let me look here, but yeah, they look good.
okay.
I mean, I'll just look the
Yeah.
sides. I can't really tell my hands in
Well,
the
and I
way,
know,
but
like, with platinum last year, there's some significant centering issues in a lot of the
no,
cards.
these look great. They look, I mean, and you'll be able to tell because there's like lines that are
Yeah.
going up and down and around. But what I'm looking at looks great. Wow, I didn't even think about looking. Well, I did think about, but when I do my full case check, that's when I kind of check those sort of things. But yeah, everything looks good.
All right, I just
Center
wanna
wise.
review the new configuration again, just so people understand. So, you get 8 cards per pack. It's gonna be 2 base and
Mhm.
4 base and 4 chase, like you said, 2
Yep,
base on the top, 2 on the bottom, 4 chase cards in the middle. I think that's probably I would agree that's probably a better a funner experience opening. I'm sure breakers will like that a lot too. And then you get 9 packs per box, so 72 cards per box. You get the one autograph or auto relic card, and we already went through everything in the box. Pre-sale pricing, just because we're recording this on Monday before it's come out, so it's still technically pre-sale. About 120 in the U.S. and then I looked in Canada, about 150 Canadian, which I did the conversion, Billy, and that's 110 U.S. dollars. So what the heck? Is there like an upper deck like America tax on? Well, why is it more expensive for me? Now I'm
I
bitter.
that's a rarity, to be honest with you. That's usually everyone in Canada complains of how cheap everything is in the U.S. and how they
Yeah, there
wish
we
they could
go.
have bought it for those prices. So, um, no, I think that's specifically geared towards Minnesota. Like
Oh.
that's the price point if you're buying from Minnesota. That's usually what we do.
You guys just put like some malware on Troy and Mai's computer that just raises the price 20%
Yes,
anytime we buy a product. I get that. I understand
exactly.
how that goes. Well, I'm actually really excited about Allure. It's kind of funny too. And so on our last show, no, it wasn't our last show, it was the show before that. We were doing a 2023-24 hobby preview series and had dedicated a whole show to Bedard and the Bedard chase. And one of the things as we know is that it looks like it's going to be a little expensive from a wax perspective. And we had Karin Rye from Slab Sharks, who's also a big hockey card collector on. And one of the pieces of advice he gave to people that don't have 5 and 6 figure budgets to buy Connor Bedard cards is to find the next OPG Platinum. And what he was referring to is at the time when Connor McDavid was a rookie, OPG Platinum did not have the esteem in the hobby that it does today. And so that if you're a little bit more on a budget, like frankly I am, and most people are, 99.9% of collectors don't have huge bankrolls to go and buy players on the secondary market or buy really expensive boxes. And one of the examples he gave that could potentially be the next OPG Platinum, it was Allure, because you have the very shiny cards, you have their gold. It's still relatively new. So this is the fourth release of the product, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's still on the newer side. And I would well, you tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems like more often than not, a new product takes a little while to catch on. Is that there's skepticism and cynicism that are very natural with people that typically enter when a new product comes out, and then I'm sure as a company and as designers, you need to kind of work your way into carving that identity out for the product too. And I don't know, it has me thinking that maybe Allure is really kind of catching steam right at that right moment for the Bedard chase. Do you agree
Look,
with that?
I'll start off by saying Tony does a great job with Platinum. He builds a monster every year. It's one of my favorite sets to rip together as a team. And it like you said, it started off slow, and he just similar to what I'm doing with Allure. He continually learned from year after year, build after build, and knows what works, knows what people are looking for, and I think does a great job with Platinum. So when we built Allure, we specifically said we got to build um, something that's not Platinum.
Yeah.
um you know so I was like, okay. And you can tell there's a little bit of quirkiness to Allure, not as to the extreme like Metal Universe, but I wanted to go a lot of color, and I wanted to go a little quirky. And I think some stuff works, some stuff didn't. Some people love die cuts, some people don't. If you notice, there's probably a few less die cuts. Like we still have our quartz, but from a parallel standpoint, we took away some of the die cuts. Just didn't feel like they valued out as well as they should. So we took some of that stuff out, but um, we continue to learn with it and add new things each year. That's always a challenge. Um but I will say one of the things that was important to me is you got to have some sort of stability, and that's something that Tony definitely does with Platinum. Is it's just like, okay, these cards are in there, they're numbered to this is like, if you're going to add a new parallel, it's not going to be like, I don't want to change the numbering of a parallel. Like I don't want to change the purples now to from 10
Yeah.
to 5. Like I want
Like you would never
purples will
change seismic gold from either 50 or 25. That's we know we count on that as
yeah, exactly.
collectors in the
So
hobby.
numbering should stay consistent. If you need more numbered cards, or if you want to add more numbered cards, then you do that with a new parallel. And that's where you had to come up with the pink leopards of the worlds, or these aren't even, oh, they are numbered, yeah, the glitter bombs. Like there'll be some that maybe will only last a year. Like, okay, there was like the logo last year, the logo cards were numbered out of 199, but we only did that one year. So this
Yeah.
year I made the glitter bombs. And you know what? I love these, and I have a feeling I
That's
want
gonna be a
these.
huge hit.
I want
Like, I'm
these to
gonna
stay. Yeah.
yeah.
So, hopefully that'll continue, and those stayed numbered to 199. And then if you need different numberings, you add different colors. You gotta One thing that we've learned with chromium stock cards is you got to be consistent year after year. And Tony's been very consistent and added more content every single year in platinum. So I'm just trying to do the exact same thing that he does. As I said, I get to be a little more quirkier and a little more colorful than maybe platinum is. But we wanted to build different sets, and that's and then the funny thing is this set, when we were building this, we're like, we wanted actually two chromium type products, and Stature's the other one that we built the same time that Allure came out. It was like, hey, we want to build two more sets. We want like a chromium stock. We want one to kind of feel like this and one to feel like that. And this is obviously much different than Stature, and as is Platinum. Like all of our chromium style sets have a different feel to them, and that's on purpose.
It's funny that you mentioned stature because I was debating jumping in like a minute or two ago when you were talking about OPT Platinum and differentiating a lure for it. And I was going to actually say, it's funny, I have the doubloons card, the South Sheet one in front of me that has the etching on it. And I was thinking that Allure is kind of like if OPG Platinum and Stature like met each other at Matt.com and had a baby. I see the I
Is
see like a little bit of Stature in Allure as well, and even in the base card design, it feels a little,
the
connected to that too.
The funny thing is it's 3 completely different people that build all 3 sets.
Yeah.
And it's always been, I've always had Allure. Tony's, I think the only platinum I can have some credit for, which I really can't, was McDavid's rookie year. The first year happened because
Sure. Sure. You
Grant,
gotta take
I
you're
was
gonna find a way
new,
to take
and
credit for McDavid.
no, 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 I was about to say I was new, and Grant kind of basically held my hand the whole way. It's like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, and help me out a great deal. Um, and he rarely takes credit for the work that he does, but he had a lot to do with our first platinum set. We even had like meetings upon what should we do. Like, should we do a Chrome UD1, or should we? And we decided we don't want to parallel out Series One. We have enough
Yeah.
parallels in Series One that we don't
Yeah.
need more parallels of it. So that's why we went the O-Pee-Chee route. And then it was just like, okay, well, what we only have one Chromium product. Let's kind of venture out and do a couple more. And we wanted those to be different. And I think we did that.
No, it looks really cool, and I'm excited to get it in a couple days and kinda get the cards in my hands and see it for
We're
myself, but it's
giving
very
you
helpful.
we're giving you a lure too?
No, I have to go buy it. I go buy it.
Oh,
We
good,
buy
good.
we buy every time a release comes out, we buy it, typically. There's a couple we haven't got. So I have to we're gonna have you on again soon, so I'm gonna respect your time and let you go in a minute because we wanna talk about Series 1, the huge
Are
release there, and
are we doing a live from the expo? Or no, it's probably too late by the time
it's
we get to
coming.
the
Well,
expo.
I wanna ask you one Series 1 question and one Series 2 question.
All right, let's do it.
Just, um, why is Series 1 coming out so early?
We're there's a because that's when they decided to put it out. um, no, we're trying to get product out.
No, that's fair. I just
There's more products coming out.
oh,
Like,
yeah.
if people think like, oh, that's just gonna ruin the expo because it came out a few weeks beforehand, guess what? We've got more coming out after that. We're catching up, and I think we're doing. I mean, you're joking about products coming out every week. I mean, look at our competitors. How often, like, they have multiple products sometimes coming out
Sure.
every week. So, we're doing our best to catch up. You guys have complained that we didn't have product for a year or two, and that you're complaining that the stuff's late, and now you're complaining the stuff's early. So I guess we
So
can't
what are you
make
learning,
everybody
Billy? No
happy,
matter what you do, we're gonna complain. So
right?
that's our role in
No,
the
I think our intention the whole time, like as far as I can recall, our intention the whole time was to get this out in October. And unfortunately, um, you know, something always happens, and it always is like delayed a week or two, whether it's stuck on some barge in California or
yeah.
somewhere or whatever. We get unlucky, and I'm guessing we're getting lucky this year finally, where it's coming out when it's supposed to come out. So that's why it's coming out in October, because
That was my guess too, is
it
that
was scheduled to yeah,
it was just
it was
ready.
it was scheduled to come out in October. When I built it, it was like I have to put something in my costing that says when's the release date, and the costing says October 2023. So we hit our mark, and we hope to continue to hit more marks. As I said, we're catching up. You're seeing a lot of 22, 23 getting through the door now, and but something like, and people are going to ask, well, why is this is we understand the importance of flagship and the timing of it, and not that we push other things to the side, but one of our big goals is to make sure flagship comes out on time, and so we do that, and that might mean having to use a vendor overseas to get this thing done, which we've done the last number of years, which is the reason why you don't see um, you know anything but holdover rookies in
Yep.
as young guns, but that's the only way we can get it out on time.
No, that makes sense. Okay, now I have my one Series 2 question.
Yes.
So, I know that you're in charge of all box prices at every retailer and every card shop across the country. I know you're not, but what do you think of what we're seeing right now in the US, like $250 a box for Series 2 pre-sale? Just curious how you
Supply and demand. It's if there's a demand for it, whoever's supplying it is going to get a feel for what the demand is, and they price it accordingly. If a product's not doing well, they're going to price the box lower than, or if nobody wants it, they'll probably price the box lower, uh, than what they
Yeah.
should, because that's the demand. So whether they're testing demand, whether that is the demand, if people are buying it, I have no control over what it is. I know what I build stuff at. I know my goal was, building Series 1 and Series 2, was to make sure that there weren't cost increases. That's why you're seeing the packs go from 12 to from 20 from 24 to 12. That's why you're seeing less cards per pack, base cards. That's the way I decided to cut
Yeah.
the ever increasing costs of producing cards. And so, like I said, it supply and demand. Like I told people, good luck finding a cheeseburger for less than $2 now at McDonald's. I remember when they were 39, 49 cents or whatever.
Yeah.
Prices go up. Prices go up
Oh
for
no,
chips
I
and
get
stuff
that
and
too, and
all
that
that
you
from our
guys
from our end. But we tried to do our best to cut prices on this one.
totally get that, and it's again something you don't control. I just curious as a guy who built the set to get your perspective. One of the things Troy and I did is we used the internet's way back machine, and we looked at the price increase between 2014 Series 2 and 2015 Series 1, which was the flagship release before the Connor McDavid Young Guns, and then compared it to the flagship release of the Connor McDavid Young Guns, and there's about a 40% increase. We're at a 100% increase now between what will be Series 1 and Series 2. So it's just kind of crazy. There's really hasn't been a precedence that we could find for this level of increase in pricing. And it'll just be really fascinating to see because we're still probably a good 5 6 months or 4 months probably at least
Mhm.
away from the release. And so that was kind of the basis of my question.
Yeah, so that's an interesting point. Um, I don't know if there was many ripper and flippers back then as there are now,
Mhm.
when it comes
Or
to
breaking,
in
right?
breaking. Yeah, so I think, and the McDavid Young Gun, I believe, was what would you say, it was like 150, $200 out the gate when it came out.
Yeah, yeah, it's something like that. But I think the challenge is going to be, and when you do the math on a Young Guns, right? It's about 50 Young Guns in a checklist typically. So we haven't seen the Series 2 checklist. So I'm just going off of what we've
It's
seen.
gonna be 50.
It'll be
Yeah.
50, right? And with the new configuration, you're going to get 6 Young Guns in a box. So on
Hmm.
average, it'll be 8 1/3 hobby boxes to get a Connor Bedard Young Gun. So I mean, which is I think why Young Guns work so well is that they're on one hand they're pretty accessible, but on the other hand they're not so accessible that you get three every time you open a box either. There's still a little bit of a chase factor to it, and if the boxes are 200, 250, $300 a box, and you're getting, and people are kind of going at it for the mentality of getting a Connor Bedard out of a box that on average you're spending $2,700 or 25 to 2,700 just by the math to pull a Connor Bedard Young Guns, and then it just will be fascinating to see how the math plays out. And like you said, it's a free market system. It's supply and demand. If the retailers price it at $400 a box and nobody buys it, well, then the natural reaction to that is it probably will come down. If they
Yep.
price it at $400 a box and it sells out in 15 minutes, the price will probably go up, right? But it's like I said, it's just crazy times. Like this whole Bedard experience. When you even look at like a CHL and World Juniors cards, what they sell for in the secondary market, there's no precedence for that either. The
Hmm.
crazy. We just reported on a sale of $5,000 for one of his CHL star rookie autos. There's no McDavid card that
No,
a CHL card that ever sold for 5 grand either. So
I I've been here 10 years, and I've said this to a few people, but I've been here 10 years, and only once have I ever heard of generational talent phrase being used, and that was McDavid. I've heard, oh, this guy's going to be the next Patrick Kane. This guy's going to be the
sure,
next, Nathan McKinnon. Like that, his skill set is like those guys. But the phrase generational talent I have only heard one other time, and that was Connor McDavid. Uh, just watching everything in the preseason, you can just tell this guy's special. Like I don't know how else to put it. Like when you have guys like Sidney Crosby, practicing with him and just raving about him. You know, I think there's something there. So,
Oh,
you know,
no, no,
we're out.
I agree. Well, just when you say the term generational talent, that implies once in a generation, right? So it
Yeah.
makes sense in the fact that we're gonna see Bedard. And I lied. I have a second series 2 follow-up question. For the love of sweet God, can you make the Bedard Young Guns canvas? Have you seen the picture of Marc-Andre Fleury
No.
tripping?
I n I'll make we can make the Taylor Hall one that, because that's the thing is I think to the Taylor Hall was better than Bedard. Like, he
Yeah.
straight up took him
Launched him.
out. Uh, but no, I've seen it. It's absolutely hysterical. I think I already have it saved on my phone because it's so funny.
But you gotta
I
make
w
that into an insert or something fun at some point to have
I think
a
that's a
little bit of fun
Flurry
with.
card. That should be a Flurry canvas card, not a
Yeah.
Bedard.
Yeah, maybe that's
That'll
a good
actually
point.
raise the price of the Flurry card for it. But no, I actually already have a game plan for the Conor Bedard canvas card that I can't speak on, but it's going to be pretty special.
Nice.
We've got something in the works, and I'm really excited about it. But you already got to see one of the Easter eggs in Allure. I'm not giving away the Easter egg in series 2. You're gonna have to wait.
All right. That's fair. Well, per usual, Billy, awesome information. Really enjoyed the conversation. I'm excited to see how everyone reacts to Allure. I think that my own personal prediction, but that those gold glitter bombs are going to be a big hit. I actually like the fact that they're out of 199 too, because
Mhm.
it's kind of like I really like about OPG Platinum the red prisms that they're out of 199. It's just it's rare enough, but it's also accessible enough where you can go get one if you want one. And those are the personally kind of the cards I like. So awesome job, and we'll talk very soon about
Yeah,
Series One.
and hi Grant. I know you're listening. You will call me into your office and tell me that you liked the interview on Gong Show. That's I'm foretelling the future. He always will be like, "Oh, I listened to the interview. It was good. You said the word I too many times." But so I'm saying hi to him now for the future. This
It's
is my
it's
future hello.
it's tough, the whole public speaking thing, but we're gonna get you enough experience. We've had to work on it ourselves too.
Yeah,
We for the first 100 shows we did, Billy, we edited them word by word because nobody would have ever listened to us in the first at least 30. Troy and I were so bad with ahs, all those filler words that people typically use. It was disgusting. It just takes practice like anything else. But you
I
do a good
use
job.
a lot of times. I catch myself doing that all the time. But
Good stuff, man. You
see, I
did great.
just did it right there. But no.
It's when your mind and your mouth get out of sync is when you have to like reflexively fill those voids. But no, you did great. Like I said, we'll chat with you really soon. Good job on Allure. I think it'll do well.
Thanks. And is this where, like in Jimmy Kimmel, we say, "And sorry, we didn't get Troy on today, but I guess we'll get you next time."
Yeah, he got called away. He was not excited about it. He's going to be really excited to think about Allure too. No, this is the time when I tell you that, oops, I forgot to hit the record button.
Nice.
But I won't. We're recording. All right, Billy. Talk to you later. See ya.
Let
All right, many thanks to Billy for joining again. Always has great information. We'll talk a little bit about our experience with the product today, but very, very excited about Allure. Did want to mention a couple of things. I had to ask him about Series 2 pricing. Kind of gave the answer I thought he would,
Yeah.
that they really don't control the price, and um, probably to be a little bit diplomatic there too. But I kind of wonder if a guy like him is just feels disappointed that, of course, Billy doesn't set the price.
Yeah.
It's more set by distributors, but you work hard on these products. You kind of want people to see them. And I guess on one hand, you're might be flattered, but on the other hand, yeah, I don't know. How would you feel if you were the guy that created the product? Would you be a little bit bummed that, or would you be
Yeah.
excited that it's going gangbusters?
Well, I don't know. I'd probably be a little bit bummed because there's gonna be more negative press or feedback than positive. So that would be what would affect me the most.
Mhm. Okay, so we want to transition then into sort of our experiences with Allure today. I went out and bought a couple boxes. One to do our pack opening videos, another one just a personal box to try. I got to say, I'm really, really high on this release. The cards turned out awesome. This is one of the better executed new product sets that I think we've seen in a long, long time. And I kind of get it too. It's like there's sets like Credentials that really did not turn out good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to blame specific people at Upper Deck that they couldn't get any of the rookies to sign the cards to be included in a rookie auto product. And so my point in saying that is there's a lot of things that have to come together for a set to be a big winner. And I kind of feel like maybe with the tiny exception of the etching not being on the doubloons cards, but they're still kind of cool with the very kind of gold and shiny on the front and back without them. It just seems like everything came together on this set. And as we talked about in the interview too, where you had the 2020 release and then it feels like just big step forward for the product in 2021 and now another big step forward in 2022. And I got to start out like with the base cards.
Yeah.
Base cards are I've never like normally because we open up a lot of boxes here for our show, and I'll be honest, most of the base cards we just junk.
Yeah.
I couldn't get myself to put
Mhm.
base cards in sort of the junk boxes that we just give away because they all look like silver prisms.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of base cards. So I think as Billy put it, there's in each pack of 8 cards, there's 4 base and 4 chase,
Yeah.
is the way he put it. And so the stack of base cards is about the stack, same as the size as the stack of hits. And so I just think they did a phenomenal job on them and a really good job of making them interesting. And where I think that that's going to make a big difference for especially collectors, I have no idea. You know, base could just be base and values could be
Yeah.
small anyways, but it makes like a Matty Beniers base actually an interesting and kind of fun card to have and
Mhm.
collect. And so I give them a lot of props for that. So if you like color, if you like chromium, like you're a fan of OPG Platinum or Stature, I really think you're going to love Allure. It still is the 2022-23 rookie class, so yeah, I mean it would be better if this set was designed as 2021 or it'd be amazing if it was 2023, but nothing that they can do about that, of course. But it did get me thinking though, going back to that progression that they've made, if they can make a similar step forward next season where you have Bedard and Fantilli for next year's
Yep.
release. Holy cow. This
Yep.
could be and it goes back to it's what Karn mentioned in his one of his tips for collecting Bedard was find the next OPG Platinum,
Yeah.
which was not as thought of in 2015 when McDavid was a rookie. And so he's like try to find that what OPG Platinum was in 2015, try to find an analogous product to that now. Where and I think he even mentioned Allure specifically that could be it. What I really really love though is the glitter bomb parallel. Yeah, here it is. If you're watching on YouTube, it's Gail McCarr. Kind of like rule.
These look way better in person too. Just when the one Billy showed on the video,
Yeah.
right? I mean, these look fantastic.
It's hard to get like what is it the sheen or reflective kind of stuff that you get off a card in person when it's just an image. Kind of rule one in selling any sports cards is anything gold is pretty easy to sell.
Yeah.
And so it's got a great name, Gold Glitter Bomb. I actually like the fact it's on a 199.
Mm-hmm.
I think down the road, because if you look at, again, going back to that analogy or example that Karn gave about OPG Platinum, it reminds you like the Red Prism. The Connor McDavid Red Prism OPG Platinum from 2015, which I think was on a 199 at the time. I don't. Some of the numbers changed a little bit, so I might not be 100% right there. But that's still a very valuable card, and it's kind of in that sweet spot between being somewhat limited but also accessible as well. So I'm just picturing like next. I can't imagine they won't bring the gold glitter bomb back to have that on a 199, Conor Bard or Adam Fantilli, whoever,
Yep.
or even the rookies in 2022 that you're chasing. I just think it's a very, very cool card.
Yep.
And I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure I'm giving it the kiss of death here. If this is becomes kind of a big, I don't know what you call it, like hobby hit or a big chased card in the hobby. Would you agree with that? Or do you think it has a chance to be that? Does it kind of hit you in the feels like it does for me?
From what I've seen, I really like it. I want to see one in person, obviously, but from what I saw in video and what I've seen in the pictures, it looks fantastic. So I'm really liking this Allure set so far, even though I haven't opened a box, but just from what I've seen. Well, you opened your box and showed me the cards, but looks like really, really nice release.
Yeah, there's lots of cool cards. Even sort of like the common inserts have parallels that have a very much a cracked ice feel to them.
Mm.
So, like I said, if you're a fan of like chrome or chromium and color, you're gonna love this Allure set. Really like the doubloons. It's got this. It's like gold on gold. Like the back is shiny gold, the front is shiny gold. The 16 bits are out. I'm sure the Gretzky will be,
Yeah.
go for a ton of money. There is the new Easter egg, and then yeah, like you put up on the screen the color flows, which is what they renamed the color connected rainbows.
Yep.
I love how they treated this with the kind of the two different sets. They have one that's all ratioed, so it's one out of every whatever packs for every one of the 5 different colors. Where the spectrum ones, which have that kind of sheen that you get like in a lot of the parallels, are all numbered. And I think
Hmm.
I think out of 35 is the blue purple. That's the hardest one to get. So again, it's not like it'll be impossible or cost $1 million to build these for your favorite players.
Yep.
So I guess my only kind of questions are rookie class on this, and I am very curious about 16-bit and will it command, now that's on the checklist, now that's not an Easter egg, now that
Hmm.
it's not like a fun surprise, are the values going to be as strong as they were for the first time, especially for the guys that are repeated like McDavid,
Yeah,
Ovechkin,
that's my thing. The
and
Gretzky one
Crowder.
will probably be huge, but the other ones, I don't know. We'll see. Probably not. I still wish that they had auto versions was like an Easter egg, but that was just me hoping.
Well, I think you got to throw in price point too, right? Where we're all starting to get depressed over all these price increases at 120 or 130 US a box. It's a fun rip. It doesn't feel like super expensive. It's still on the lower end of what boxes are. I'm also wondering too if by the time we're in Toronto for the expo, if maybe we'll find some cheap boxes of Allure there.
Yeah. Plus, you get more than one pack, so yay.
Yay, 9 pack, so 8 cards a pack. You think you're going to buy any personal boxes?
Yep. This weekend.
Mhm. Good job, Upper Deck. Got to give them credit.
Yep.
If you're going to criticize when things don't turn out maybe as you think they should, you've got to be just as effusive in your praise when people do something. And Billy and crew, I know lots of people work on these sets. They just did a really bang up job with Allure so far, and I haven't noticed like many like crazy like OPG Platinum-esque manufacturing issues or QC issues,
Hmm.
so that's always nice too. Okay, Troy, I got to make a quick mention for PWCC and get into our weekly hockey preview. Of course, PWCC is a Gong Show partner and sponsor. Thank them for their support of the Gong Show. Reminder, the October premiere auction is live, runs through Thursday, October 19th. There's 5 amazing hockey cards in the auction that we went through on our last episode. Also, be sure to check out the PWCC fixed price marketplace where there's almost 5,000 hockey cards to choose from. You can head to pwccmarketplace.com, see all the cards in the premiere auction and in the fixed price marketplace. Of course, also live right now is the PWCC Weekly Auction. And like we do every Thursday, Troy and I pick out our favorite vintage and modern hockey cards to feature and learn more about. And we're going to start with our favorite vintage cards. So the first one, I'm really excited for you to look at this card, Troy, is a 1952 Parkhurst Gordie Howe PSA 4. It's got the PWCC E exceptional eye appeal rating, which puts it in the top 15% of the 75 that are graded with the PSA 4. So I'm definitely not a grader, of course, but I have spent a long, long time looking at this card, and I don't understand how it's a 4. I just don't. No, again, I'm not saying it's a 10.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to like argue that it should be a gem mint, but there's a big difference between a 10 and a 4. And I'm telling you, Troy, the eye appeal on this card is off the charts.
Well, I mean, yeah, just doing a quick zoom. I mean, unless from the picture there, I don't know what's going on, like why it's a 4. I'm just looking the front and the back.
There's a little stain on the back, right above where it says Gordon Howe.
Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But again, though, it's not a 10.
Yeah. I mean, jeez.
And
this looks like fantastic for a 4.
The corners aren't perfect. It's a little bit off center, a tiny bit right to left, maybe like 60-40, something like that. Top to bottom, centering is good. The colors are vibrant. The picture is clear. The corners are pretty good, although not perfect. So if you're a Gordie Howe fan or collector and don't have like PSA 10 money, I don't know how you're going to find a nicer PSA 4 than this card. I would be shocked to ever see one. And so that's why I had to talk about this card. And if you're not watching on YouTube, you're listening to us, go to pwccmarketplace.com. Just look at this card and tell us if you think maybe it is a 4. Like I said, I'm not a grader, but I just look at vintage cards from that eye appeal perspective. And I really, really like this card. It's a second-year Gordie Howe, of course, whereas the 1951 Parkhurst is considered his rookie.
Yep.
But we got to remember, though, with Gordie Howe, is he actually began his NHL career in 1946-47, not 51 and 52 like this card is. But due to World War II, hockey cards were not produced at that time, so they were picked back up with the 1951 Parkhurst set, and that's why that card is considered Howe's rookie. So it's his second hockey card. It was actually his 6th NHL season. It might be part of the reason why, like, when you get to like the 1960s, Gordie Howe cards, he looks like a grandpa.
Yeah.
He's pretty old at that time. Again, just an awesome card. I can't imagine the winner of the card won't be pleased with the pickup. So the last sale, Troy, in a 1952 Parkhurst Gordie Howe PSA 4 was $1,397 US. That sold on August 20th of this year. All-time high for a PSA 4 is $2,640 from the PWCC Weekly, Troy, in May of 2022. For a copy of that, so this is the PWCC Exceptional Eye Appeal Rating, top 15%. That card had the superior eye appeal rating, which is top 5%. I compared the two. This one is nicer. The one
it must be that stain that's just killing it or something. I don't know.
I have no, but again, it's an eye appeal rating. So what is it?
I am looking at the back of the card.
You got a current bid on it?
$460 US.
Or you got the next vintage card to highlight?
I do, and this one is a shout out. Josh actually gave me a heads up. He texted me. You know what I like, and you said you're saving this one all for me because it hits all my buttons. So I am looking at a 1971 OPC hockey Gump Worsley number 241 PSA 10. All right, Josh, we have a goalie with the Minnesota North Stars and a PSA 10 with a low pop count, which I'll get to in a bit. Plus, we have an absolute fantastic picture on front. I am not a fan of profile pictures. I usually hate them when they're profile pictures. However, this one looks great. It's just a really good image of Gump. And he just looks like a Gump, which I love. When I say Gump, this is what I expect my Gumps to look like. And
the Gump name is befitting. That is for sure.
It's fantastic. It's a great card. Plus, I am such a homer. I love the North Star colors. Love that he's in a North Star jersey. And he's a little bit older in this picture. I think the North Stars lured him out of retirement to come back and kind of be a platooning goalie with them in the 70s. But yeah, great. Just a fantastic vintage card. Now, when I was looking like in depth or looking super close at this card, it looks very, very clean. It does have that. Obviously, it's a 10, but it's got that OPC rough cut. You can see the little, I don't know what you want to call it, little cardboard on the side, which is expected. but everything looks really, really clean. Centering's pretty decent, maybe just a tiny smidge off. Coloring looks great. I mean, a couple print dots here and there, but nothing drastic. But it looks it looks fantastic. And then the back is also really nice. And my favorite, I just love these cartoons. And it says Gump doesn't wear a mask. Thank you. Thank you, cartoon of OPG card. So this is just a great PSA 10. It looks great. I love it. And because we're doing Gump Worsley, we got to talk about him a little bit. So Josh, his full name is Lorne John Worsley. Was his name. He was given his nickname because his friends thought he looked like comic strip character Andy Gump. Now I looked up comic book character Andy Gump. No way does he look like him. And maybe I just didn't see it. I didn't put a picture,
Really?
but yeah, go look it up and at some point and tell me if Gump Worsley looks like this Andy Gump character. I didn't think so, but anyways. So Gump is in the Hall of Fame, 4-time Cup winner. It's the 1953 Calder winner, 2-time Vezina Trophy winner. Played in 860 games over a 21-season NHL career. He had 333 wins, 348 losses, 149 ties, 43 shutouts, 2.87 goals against average, and a .914 save percentage. We could have went way more in depth with Gump, but that's where we're going to leave it. This card now, I told you I'd get back to the pops. It's a PSA 10. It has a population of 6 with a gem rate of 3%. But here's the funny thing. This exact card sold on eBay and was verified in Terapeak, same PSA number and all, on August 4th of 2023 for $800 US. Before that sale, though, the last sale I could find for a PSA 10 copy was in 2019 when a copy sold for $401 US. Current bid is $525 US. I'm guessing it's going to get probably pretty close to that 800 amount.
I don't really get. We see this a lot.
Yeah.
When we do the Jeremy show,
Yep.
I'm always a little puzzled by these quick flips on vintage cards like this. It just does not seem like it seems like very risky to. But again, it's your card. Who knows why somebody's buying and selling? Maybe selling for very important and good reason. I don't know, but I'm talking not using this as an example, but just talking about the principle in general of it, and because we do see it a lot.
Well, how many of those are? I mean, I know I say this is verified in Terapeak, but how many we've gotten into it before? It's not that hard for a person to buy this and then not do the payment, right? Or have the payment and then return it and do the refund, and it's still going to show up in Terapeak. I hope it's not that. I hope it's just someone thought, hey, that's a great price. I'm going to try to flip it. Or maybe something happened, which I don't hope happened, where they need money now. But yeah, it's kind of interesting when you see these quick flips on these graded vintage cards.
It's like you expect quick flips on like Cole Caulfield Young Guns. Like I'm telling you, and I know I'm being a fatalist here, but I'm telling you, this is if I bought this card for $800 on August 4th and I put it in the PWCC, it would sell for $280. Guaranteed. So maybe it's just my luck in life. All right, the last vintage card we're going to talk about is a 1911 C55 Albert Kerr PSA 6. Well, there's a couple things that really stood out to me about this card. Number one is a PSA 6 for a card that's 122 years old. I don't know about you, but that's pretty impressive.
Well, look at that registration number, man. 120. We're getting low.
And then the second thing, when you take a good look at the card and the photo of Albert here, I don't like to be judgy, so I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't think he's around. I know he's not around to... Does he not look more like he should be like a butler in an English manner than a professional hockey player?
He does look kind of suave. Here's your hockey stick, sir.
Well, he looks like he weighs like 112 pounds.
I'm sure they all weighed that. I mean, people were tiny back then.
It was a different time.
Yep.
The card is a PSA 6, pop count 19, 9 graded higher. So before looking into him, I knew nothing about Albert Kerr.
Yeah. So
we've got another nickname here. So Albert Daniel Dubby Kerr was born in 1889, which is of course a long time ago. Okay, Troy, on a scale of 1 to 10, rate Dubby as a hockey nickname.
It was probably cool back then, but it's too close to Doobie, and that reminds me of Devon Dubnyk, and then I get sad
Okay.
because he was not very good for the Wild, except for 1 year.
Well, Dubby played professional hockey in the U.S. and Canada from 1907 until 1920. He was a left winger who, over his career, scored 133 goals, added 41 assists. So 143 goals, 41 assists. Not much of a passer.
Yeah, puck hog.
Okay. Dubby was most notably, I'm just going to call him Dubby, notably part of two Ottawa Senators Stanley Cup winning teams in 1909 and 1911. Got to give Albert, I'm going to call him by his real name here, a lot of respect and honor. He did take a 3-year hiatus from hockey from 1917 to 1919 to serve in World War One. Gosh, can you imagine like Connor McDavid leaving hockey to fight a war? He also, Troy, missed significant time in 1910 when a skate blade cut his eye, temporarily causing him to lose his sight in that eye. He had surgery, which later corrected it. Of all the bad things you want to happen to you, where do you rate skate blade cutting your eyeball?
That's pretty high. And also getting surgery in 1910 or whatever, that doesn't sound fun either.
Yeah, probably like a 50-50 proposition at best. He's not a Hall of Famer, but he was a star during that time. And one season he had 32 goals in 16 games. He did play, Troy, for many of your favorite teams, I know. Notably, the Pittsburgh Lyceum. You still have season tickets to them.
What is a Lyceum? Is that something I should know?
Then he moved to crosstown rival Pittsburgh Athletic Club.
Heard of that? I definitely heard of them.
Yep. From there, the Toronto Professionals.
I love it.
Then to the Ottawa Senators, of course. From there, he played, I think this was after the war, for the Victoria Aristocrats.
Which matches how you thought his image looked.
Yes, there you go. That is even though it's a Senator's photo. And then who could forget his stint with the Spokane Canaries?
Fearsome Canaries. Yeah. When
so
I think of mascots, that's what strikes fear into me, the canary.
If you're a C55 set collector looking for higher graded cards, I'm sure this one would be interesting to you. Or like Troy, you might be a huge Spokane Canaries collector and you just want to get all their player cards. At PSA 6, Troy, these do not come up for sale very often. Last sale for 1911, Albert W. Kerr, PSA 6, was $218 in October 2020. All-time high, 538 back in 2006. Now, sometimes people ask, because I had this question at one point too. It's like, wait a minute. It sold for 218 in 2020, but 538 in 2006. A lot of times, if you kind of really dig into that, it means that the pop count might have been way smaller in 2006. And so then somebody paid a premium for that and more were graded. And I don't know what happened in this case, but let's say the pop count has maybe doubled in that 14-year period. So that's sometimes how those are explained. Okay, we're going to switch over to modern.
350.
Oh, 350.
It's the current bid.
Thank you. Forgot that. First modern card we want to look at today is a 2020 Exquisite Collection Sidney Crosby limited logos 2003 Tribute Patch Auto out of 10, a BGS 910. This card, I got to admit, stopped me in my tracks. And the first thing you'll notice is the kind of amazing big patch window that is somewhat synonymous with limited logos cards. It's another tribute card. We've seen a lot of tributes lately, a lot of big Sidney Crosby cards. And I kind of feel like somebody has a very nice Sidney Crosby collection that's letting a little bit go week by week. So it's the tribute is to the 2003 limited logos, which is a vertical. And I think we both prefer a little bit more vertical cards to horizontal. So I think that in my mind has this card is going for it as well. Now it is a 2-color patch, which normally you'd be like, but it could be one of the more interesting 2-color patches I've seen, or is it 3?
It's 3. There's a little thing of gold right there.
Sliver of gold.
You got to find it. You got to zoom in, but it's there.
That's
deceiving.
Mostly a 2-color patch.
Yeah, well, there you go.
It's a very intricate kind of design. It's the Penguins glove, one of their hockey gloves.
Gotcha.
And the chest logos. So I went and tried to figure that out specifically. It's got a very big kind of area on the card that's designed for the auto. So the auto stands out on its own. A lot of room to breathe. Sid, of course, is a really beautiful auto. Now, if there's any sort of drawback on this card, it's the image of Sidney Crosby
Yes.
is about as teeny tiny as I've ever seen on a card. It's like a tiny square. But I don't know. And I want to get your opinion on this too. I don't mind it in this case because, listen, when you have a huge patch window and then you leave a big area for the auto, something's got to give, right?
Yep. Agree with you 100%. I can live with the small headshot if I get a sweet big patch and the autograph. But I will say the first thing that came to my mind when I saw the little picture, do you watch Kids in the Hall?
No.
Oh, when he does crushing your head and he's like, people that are listening that heard it, that they'll get it, but that's what it reminded me of, just this little head that I'm trying to crush. But yeah, I can live with the small picture as long as I get the nice big patch and a lot of room for the auto. Obviously, Sid didn't take up the whole auto line, but it's still a lot of area there too.
Of all like the more modern Sid card, non-rookies that you've seen, is this one that, where would you say that this is one you're medium like, or you really like, or you would just be a pass on?
No, I would definitely. I mean, I really like it actually. I like that it's out of 10. I love that it's actually 3-color, but you got to kind of, I love that it's almost hidden that it's a 3-color patch. Plus, again, the auto, just perfect, like absolutely perfect. No like pen lifting or anything. So this would definitely be one I would be interested in.
There's kind of another oddity about this card too, in that, and I think this is the first case, but you correct me if I'm wrong here. This card has not yet ever sold publicly.
Has
that happened to us before on these?
It's had to have. I
just don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, it got me thinking about the scenario. So let's say like you're really, really interested in this card, and it's not going to be a cheap card.
Nope.
By any stretch. Do you think it's more likely when a card like this sells for the first time that a buyer would get the card cheaper than maybe the second or third buyer just because there's no precedence? Or do you think the opposite is true, that more often people overpay for a card that has never sold before?
I would guess in the case of Sidney Crosby, it's going to be an overpay because I got to believe there's big time collectors. And if this card's never sold, they're going to want it. And there's got to be more than, I think this is ripe for a bidding war is what I would think. But that's just me off the top of my head.
Would you be nervous buying any, not just this card, but any sort of bigger like card that's at least 4 figures that had never sold before, and just trying to figure out what to pay for it?
I mean, I'd be nervous, but if I'm PCing it, I don't even care. And if I have that much money, I don't care either.
Sure.
I just want it for the collection.
You got the current bid on it?
$825 US. All
right, you got the next modern card.
I do. We're going to stick with the goalie theme, I guess, for Troy. I'm going goalies all day. 2005 Upper Deck Young Guns, Henrik Lundqvist, rookie out of number 216. Sorry, not out of 216, number 216. PSA 10. So we got another goalie and a player that we actually rarely talk about unless we're talking about him as a broadcaster, I think. We don't talk about Lundqvist enough or a lot on our show. And his cards don't even actually come up that often that we actually see or in new sets or anything. But I will say he is coming back to life. I mean, he's coming back to the public eye. He's a full-time analyst now on TNT's NHL broadcast. He does a great job, brings a lot of unique insights to the coverage. And I think he is also a 2023 Hockey Hall of Fame inductee. So he's got both those things coming for him. Maybe is why this card got listed. The person that had this figured, well, now might be a good time to sell. So obviously being a PSA 10, this card looks super, super nice. Great color. I love the image on the front. I think it looks fantastic. Plus he's got these old TPS pads, which are just fantastic. Centering, I don't know how to say if the centering looks good or not, but it must be pretty decent. This upper right corner, maybe just a little off the corner, but nothing bad. The rest of the card looks great. Edges look okay. You know, I can kind of live with the PSA 10. Now, Josh, what freaks me out about this card, look at this dude. If you're not watching YouTube, there's a guy behind the net, and his eyes are just right above the crossbar. And he's like,
He's doing something devious.
he's
We don't know what.
staring deeply into your soul or something, but that's kind of creepy. But I don't know why that's like the first thing I saw when I looked at this card. I don't know why, but it's great. It's one of those oddball cards too, with that kind of funny background image. But again,
I'd be like picking my nose in the background of Conor Bard's Young Guns.
Yeah, so again, great looking card. And if you aren't familiar with Hank, that's his nickname. Fantastic goalie, played under 887 games over a 15-season NHL career, all with the Rangers. 459 wins, 310 losses, 96 ties, 64 shutouts, 2.43 goals against with a .918 save percentage. He is a Hall of Famer. He's getting inducted this year. I don't even know when the ceremony is. It's had to either happen or it's coming up.
Could it have happened already? Yeah,
It might have. He's a one-time Vezina winner, but no cup. Which, yeah, it's always going to be like my boy Pekka, great goalie, no cup, always be held against him. This card being a PSA 10, it has a pop of 312 with a gem rate of 45%. And actually, I was going to say too, it's nice to see an actual original 2005 Young Guns card rather than the tributes that we always see in these like more recent sets. So I thought that was kind of an interesting piece too. Last sale was on that I could find of this card of PSA 10 was on September 28th of this year for $318.72 US via ebay.ca, verified in Terapeak. Current bid $230 US.
I've got a Henrik Lundqvist question for you. What are the odds that his TNT salary covers his suit budget?
Oh my, his suit and his haircut. Actually, no, he said his haircut is like $30 and he will not tell anyone where he gets it because he doesn't want people to go there, which I kind of cracked me up. Yeah, his suits are very well tailored, very well made, fit him like a glove. He's very dapper, but I love his because he brings a goalie insight, but like an iconic goalie that played a lot of games. Sometimes we get goalies that didn't play that many games, but I like hearing Lundqvist's kind of thing or what he thinks about stuff.
Well, not every good athlete or great athlete can describe how they did it either.
Yeah.
Like, there's lots of athletes that have said, it's like, I don't know, I just made the save.
Yeah.
Kind of go at it from that perspective. Okay, the last card we're going to cover in the PWCC Weekly is like a Sidney Crosby theme.
Yeah, you becoming a Sidney Bobo. What's going on here?
Yeah, just some cool cards. This one is a 2013-14 Panini Prism Crosby Gold Prism out of 10 PSA 10. You'll find out in a minute why I'm really happy that I picked this card because it led us in a little important direction. We've talked about like with the gold glitter bombs out of Allure, gold is the most bankable word in sports card collecting and values. This is just an awesome card. One thing to note though out of the gate is it's not the first gold prism for Crosby. That would have been the year before. So it's that's out of 10 too. So there's like 20 total. So I don't know. I guess the 2012 would be a little bit more preferred, but still a pretty cool card. For 2013, 3 of the 10 have been graded by PSA. So there's 1-8, 1-9, and this card is graded 10. And I should say, too, if you wanted to go look up the 2012, the set was actually Panini Rookie Anthology Prism. So it wasn't even Panini Prism, that name in 2012, even though there was the gold Prism. I tend to think this is the better looking of the two. It's just not the first one. So 4 of the golds from 2012 have been graded by PSA. There's 2 9s and 2 10s. None of these are rookies, of course, but they're the only gold prisms, the only 2 years Panini produced Prism hockey cards.
Oh, okay.
So they tend to go for quite a bit. Are you a fan of these cards, Troy? You like them?
Yep. I've gotten both Pekkas, I think. I have one of them for sure. I think I have the other one too.
The gold ones?
I think so, right? Gold prisms? Yeah.
Oh, wow. Good for you. There's only been one ever sale of this card, and it's the specific card because it's the only PSA 10. And it sold this past summer in June, Troy, for $6,360. So here's where we get into like the kind of interesting part of this that ties into our last show where we talked about the McDavid rookie, that the sale that wasn't a sale, the $3 million McDavid sale that never got paid for. Which, of course, and that sale or that comp is still on all the sales reports. So if you go to Card Ladder, if you go to eBay sales history, if you go to 130 Point, Market Movers, or whatever it is, they still show a $3.33 million exquisite Shield rookie auto for McDavid that as a comp, but it's a week later and it still hasn't been corrected.
Yeah, does this? I'm sorry, I got behind. Do you want the image up with the Card Ladder stuff?
No, not yet.
Okay, sorry. And my brain is scattered. I'm an idiot. I was thinking OPG seismic golds.
Yeah.
Never mind. I have fucking seismic gold, not the prism gold, because I'm a bonehead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was really impressed for a minute there.
It's just I don't know it's late. It's late. I don't know.
So I want to take you through, because this is actually a great example of why comps that are not, or listings that are never paid for, that then turn into comps are such a huge issue for the hobby. We're all going to go through like a hypothetical exercise here. So this is a 2013 Panini Prism, Sidney Crosby Gold Prism out of 10, PSA 10. Let's say that, and it's at auction right now. Let's say that you're interested in this card, and I assume many, many people are. And you got to try to figure out, well, okay, it's at the PWCC Weekly. I want to bid on it. What do I think it's worth? How much should I bid for the card? I assume what you're going to do is what most of us do. You go look at past sales. And there are a number of sales for this card that, again, there's only 10 copies, but I think there's something like 12 total sales.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have it here on the screen, but just to mention too, I think at one point in like 2013, you could have bought this card for $70, which is a genius. Whoever did that, if you held it, you're a genius.
Yeah.
But what you'll find when you go and you search for comps is that the top 3 sales, all from earlier this year, for a copy of this card are all BGS 9.5s. One sold for $20,000 US, one sold for $17,500, and another for $14,950. So there's 3 pretty big comps today for these cards that sold late winter, early spring. The problem is none of these comps were paid for.
Yep.
None of them. And they're still on the sales reports today. And like we talked about last week, if you're a card collector and you're trying to figure out how much to bid, you can't tell me you're not going to be influenced by going and searching up the sales history for this card and seeing a sale, what you think is a sale for $20,000 US, $17,500, and just under $15,000 and $14,950. This is such a huge issue.
Yep.
And this is probably a $7,000 card. It's not a $20,000 card. I hope whoever wins this card is by chance watching or listening to this show and is not going to overpay because of comps that are not real, but are constantly on the. I mentioned this, I think, on our last show. We get a lot of attention for our record sales posts that we do on Instagram. And I do a lot of research every day for those cards. And there is not a single day I don't run into this exact scenario.
Yep.
In many cases, multiple. I can go, I think today even, I think it was like 4 cards in a row that I thought were record sales were not, because they were littered with quote unquote comps that were never paid for.
Yep. And
people make buying decisions off of this. So it's been a while, Troy. I don't know how long it's been. We have not introduced a new Gongshow rule in a long time, but because of this issue and because of I think the importance of people knowing it, today we're going to introduce the 7th Gongshow rule, which is as follows. Never rely on an eBay comp unless it's verified as paid in Terapeak. Like we talked about last week, Terapeak is the sales history tool in the eBay seller accounts that is different from eBay sales history for some mind-boggling reason that nobody understands. But what it does is it only lists completed listings that have been paid for.
Yep.
So therefore you get, now it's not foolproof. There's ways that it gets wonky
Yeah.
too. Like if cards are returned, they're still on there,
Yep.
but it's a much more accurate representation of comps. And I'm telling you guys, there's the standard sales reporting that we're all accustomed to looking at. Like I said, from eBay sales history to market movers to card ladder to 130 point. And I got to say, too, like defense of 130 point and market movers and card ladder, it's not their fault because they're getting bad data from eBay.
Yep. This is an eBay issue, and they don't want to fix it until I don't know when. But I did have one question on the rule. Do you think we should add never rely on an eBay comp unless it's verified as paid in Terapeak, ... and then still be skeptical?
Maybe. And I realize though that this is not an easy, I don't know if you want to call it rule or solution, because like we talked a little bit about this last show too. You have to have an eBay seller account. But here's what I would say. If you don't have an eBay selling account, they're free to get. Even if you don't ever plan on selling on eBay, there's so many unpaid comps in the sales reports you're looking at.
Yes.
Register, get a seller's account so you get access to Terapeak. It's free with an eBay selling account. And then I would say if you're in the heat of the moment, if you're at a card show with spotty internet and you're trying to work on a deal for a card and the dealer pulls out a 130 point comp, I'm not trusting that until I verify in Terapeak. And I know we talked about this for sure last episode. The other thing that big time stinks on Terapeak, especially on Apple iOS, is it's not accessible through the app.
Yeah, either on Android either. You have to actually go through Chrome
and go through the web.
Yeah, to give me show me the desktop site is basically how you got to do it.
It is a huge pain. It's not fun. It's not easy. Yep. It's going to add complexity to the deal that you do, but you're taking a massive risk of basing what you're paying for a card off of, not in many cases, not just one comp, but a series of comps that were never paid for. And because this issue is so persistent, and a lot of like savvy bad people know about it, is they use this to their advantage and manipulate. Troy, can you throw back up on the screen the comps?
Yeah. Really
quick. So one of the things that you would notice is there's 3 unpaid comps I referenced: a $20,000 sale from February 25th, a $17,000 sale from $500 from February 26th, and then a $14,950 from March 4th. The top sale and the third sale, the $20,000 sale and the $15,000 sale, it's both the same seller
and the same card too, right?
And the same card.
Yeah.
And neither of them were paid for.
Yep.
You'll find sellers that do this 4 times in the span of 3 months, and it just says the card was relisted. Now, in their sort of defense, they could say, well, I was legit. It just people keep buying it and not paying for it, so I have to relist it. You never really know, but it happens so much that I think you kind of do know, too. Another great example, we don't have it on, to show as a visual, but we might have referenced this last time, too. I think we did on a show, as the Leon Draisaitl exclusives.
Yeah.
I could give you guys 100 examples of this. And so it's just to a point where it's getting really exhausting and frustrating. And I just hate to think that people, for a card that maybe they just want a PC, they're not even looking at it from an investment perspective, but they've really wanted it, that they're overpaying to great degrees because somebody shoves a report at them that says, well, somebody paid 20 grand for this card in February. And again, it's a sales report from eBay, so why wouldn't you believe it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame anyone for not knowing all these nuanced, hidden rules about how these reports work. And so don't ever trust a comp unless you can verify it in Terapeak. We report nothing unless we verify in Terapeak. And if you think about, well, all the social media posts we do, all the facts and figures and sales we report on our show, it sucks. It's double the work for every time we want to do something. But I think you mentioned this on our last episode too, that we've been burned. We got burned so often. It's embarrassing. when
Yeah.
you do a record sale and it's like, well, actually, that was never paid for. And it was relisted 2 days later. So we just got to the point where we're like, well, we're not going to ever, and I'm sure we still make mistakes too, because not everything is so readily stands out like that $3 million McDavid sale. So again, we thought it justified the 7th Gongshow rule: never rely on an eBay comp unless it's verified in Terapeak. And if you want to look at all of our Gongshow rules, all 7 of them, this one will be up on the site soon, but you can go to hockeycardsgongshow.com. And that's just kind of the condensed, I guess, archive of the core things that we've learned through the experience of doing the show. And again, to check out all the hockey cards in this week's PWCC Weekly Auction, visit pwccmarketplace.com. I don't know, you have anything else to mention about the rule or the
I would just
problem
say,
of these comps?
Yeah, you covered the comps great. Current bid $675 US. So I'm hoping people are smart about this. It's not runaway crazy yet, and I'm hoping by bringing attention to it, we get some smart bids on this. But yeah, it's a problem. We're gonna keep hammering it and seeing it and watching it, and we'll see what happens.
And it's nothing against the card. The card's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's an amazing card, and it's worth a lot of money. It just sucks that people manipulate the, and I'm sure, I mean, this is kind of like the whole world of any sort of auctions. I just feel is like,
There's always that tinge of dirtiness around them. Maybe we should stop by the eBay booth at the expo and say, hey, can we talk to you for a sec?
Oh, it would be amazing if they would fix it for sure.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to end the show like we always do with personal pickups. Troy, what you got?
Nothing, and I just got beat on a big auction on eBay, so now I'm bitter. So now I'm cranky.
Man.
So nothing.
I have one personal pickup. It's a 2021-22 Skybox Metal Universe Mason McTavish Premium Prospects Auto. I got it on my card post. The seller had it listed for $35. I offered $30. They accepted, so pretty easy peasy. Still, man, I just love my card post. I know they're a sponsor, so take that with a grain of salt. But they make it, you just get really good deals, really good cards. And so why this is not like a PC. This is where I try to be smart, which never seems to work out. But we've talked about it before. McTavish was like white hot coming into last season. He had an amazing summer, some huge international tournament performances, and he was pretty mediocre. I don't know, what do you call his rookie year, like a C+ or B-, something like that?
Yeah, I'm in the C range.
So that really dropped the value of his cards. As to why, he's really young. It's his first year, but those are kind of excusey type things. The Ducks were a mess last year. I just thought for a $30 bet, if he makes a big jump forward, that this could be something that I flip maybe into a bigger card, part of a bigger card or a PC, something like that. Like I said, he's 20 years old.
Yeah.
So, and I wanted to mention too that I sound like, why do I always do this? And part of me, especially this time of year, that likes to make these little bets like this is it kind of gives me a rooting interest in the player.
Yeah.
Throughout the year, you get kind of excited when they score goals. So, all right, well, that's our show for this Thursday. If you like the episode, please leave a rating review on Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, you want to support us, want to chat with us every day on the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server, please consider a $5 a month donation. Join our on a $1.99 support level tier on Patreon. The link is on our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com. There's a Become a Patron link there. You can go directly to the Patreon website, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gongshow. There's a link in the show description for the podcast app you're listening to us on or watching us on YouTube, and it's in our Instagram and TikTok profile as well. Troy.
Josh, I'm interrupting. I just wanted to show you a 16-bit showed up on eBay. I know people that are doing the audio can't see it, but I just wanted to show because we didn't see actually what they looked like. So there you go. If you're watching,
well, what's your review on the? Do you like the updated design?
It looks cool. Yeah, I mean, it looks way more. I think they look a little more detailed actually.
The image of the player's face is a lot more.
Yeah.
Is that really 16-bit?
That's what it says.
Like if.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I think they maybe fudged to make the.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I see what you're saying, but they look a little more detailed. I like it. Like the choose player button on the back. That's cool. All right. Cool. Sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, what I was going to mention is that Hockey Cards Gongshow, Troy, is on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And of course, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a production of Dollar Box Ventures LLC. Enjoy all the opening games of the NHL season. Troy, on Monday, guess what's back? The Struggle Bus.
Struggle Bus.
Cannot wait for it. We'll talk to you on Monday.